I believe that we are live. Guys, do me a favor. Write a 1 down into the building if you can hear and or see me. And then we're going to get right started with the content. Hopefully you guys can hear and see me correctly. We're going to get set up together as a team and as a family before we officially get in there. It's not going to take much time. But as you guys know, I'm still building the plane as I fly, still trying to figure out all of the different hardware and software things that are happening on here. Like for right now, I can't see any of the comments. I can't even see if you guys are talking. Okay, there goes that button. Okay. Let me get the Zoom thing ready. Guys, do me a favor as you come down into the room, hit on the like button and drop a 1 down up in there just so I can know if you can hear and or see me correctly. We got to get active on this conversation. Shout out to everybody that was sending me this video. It's a Jubilee video. A lot of people stay away from all of the Jubilee stuff because, you know, I'm not sure if I believe that what they do is that they copyright claim for monetization. So I think a lot of people stay away from their content. I believe about a year or so ago, it was kind of like a viral story in it that they were copyright striking people. I don't think that they're doing that anymore. With that being said, I don't know how long this stream is going to be up. Shit, we might be able to make it through the whole thing as a family, as a team, as an army, as an MT army, and the MTRs. Or this thing might be done in the next 5 minutes. I don't know, but we gonna attack the subject the best way that we can. Shout out to everybody that's coming down up into the building. All right, I see a bunch of ones that's coming in there. Come on. Shout out to everybody that's coming down up in here. Appreciate you guys for stopping in with me. We're going to have some fun here today. All right. Let me also set up this Zoom thing real quick, just so I can invite you guys to come up and have a conversation. All right. I think some of the benefit or the beauty of the last conversation that we had live is that I can hear from you guys as well. I would also like to make one change, though. If you want to come up, if you want to have a conversation, please put your camera on so I can see you. You can see me. There might be some people that I let in here that, you know, I can't see them, but I can hear you. You know what I mean? But I would prefer that you had a camera on. I think it makes for a lot more interesting of a conversation for all of us. All right. Let me get this Zoom thing created. Let me put it down, pinned to the chat, to the top of the chat. Okay, copy link. Damn, I ain't gonna lie to you. This system is smooth as hell. All right. Once I had my guy come up in here and he was like, listen, man, you want PC? Now you gotta switch to Mac, baby. I said, Mac? How dare you say Apple's name in my presence? I am an Android boy. I am a PC man. He said, stop it, MTR. You're stubborn as hell. Apple is the way, baby. So I gave it a shot. I ain't gonna hold you. I see what you Apple fanboys are talking about, all right? Let me put this down up in here. All right, there go to Zoom. If we have a moderator down up into the building, please, if you can pin that link to the top of the chat and let me know when you do, all right? Shout out to everybody that's coming down up into the building. I need to stop screaming, all right? I need to focus on my emotional control. But I got my shame bell over here. Hold on. Let me just put that right there. All right, just in case we need to get active on them. I also see that my candle is not lit. Hold on. Let me light the butane on them. All right, we gotta set the mood, baby. We gotta set the mood appropriately. What a music at. Damn, I just hit the go live button. I wasn't even like, really even ready. Here we go. Oh, we cruising now. Shout out to everybody that's coming down up into the building. Guys, put a 1 down up into the chat. Can you guys hear and see me correctly? Is it coming in smooth? Is it coming in crystal clear? Let me know. Put a 1 down up into the chat. Let me acknowledge there's already a super chat that came in. Zoe with the $50 super chat. Shout out to Zoe, always such a super supporter of the stream, super supporter of what it is that we do up on here. And it's super dope to see so many lovely young ladies come down up into the building and truly not even just rock with and bang with the content, but then also see the value and then also be, so generous in donating, to the stream and what it is that we do up on here. I've said this at the beginning of the year that this is the year of amplify, and expand. And we've done so many great and incredible things, and none of that would have been possible without you. I mean, shit. Look at the studio, baby. We in the $1 million MTR studio now. All right. This is a different level now. All right. We done amplified and expand. All right. You guys thought it was a game when I said that I was gonna do things like this. All right. Music videos, right? Come on. Interviews with Maury, Corey Hoke, all of these different types of things, all right? We moving over here, but we staying true to the purpose. We staying true to the goals. We still giving feedback and critiquing, but also trying to uplift as well in our pursuit of joy and happiness. But shout out to you, Zoe, for the $50 super chat at the top of the show. She didn't even know what I'm going to be talking about. But that's the type of love and support that we got down up in here. Shout out to the livest chat. The most intelligent chat. You guys heard the conversation from the last live stream. You impressed me. Keep on. All my smart subscribers, keep on calling in. All right. I want to talk to you guys. I want to be able to have conversations. I actually think conversations is what I do best. Just me talking in front of a camera, acting as if the camera is a human being, it's still odd to me. It's still awkward. And I'm like 7 years in the game. All right. But when I have the opportunity to talk to you guys, I think that's when we get the best value, right? We get the best exchanges. So shout out again to Zoe for the $50 super. I think at the $50 level, hold up. We got purple. We might do, hold up. What else we got? Oh, we got the rotation of the lights on this one. Ooh, damn, that shit cold. Hold on. We got, of course, you guys have seen it. You guys have seen the EDM lights, right? But damn. All right. Shout out. What's this one? Red and blue. Okay. I need to go in there. What's this one? Okay. I need to go down there and customize it. Shout out to everybody that's coming down up into the building. I appreciate you guys for stepping in here with me. Guys, do me a favor. Click on that like button at your earliest convenience, which means right now. All right. Because we officially not into the content yet. We're going to get in there in way less than 5 minutes. I guarantee it. But go up there and click on that like button so as many people can get notified of the stream. If I'm going to be starting these streams up again, I want as many people to come down up in here, have a conversation, whether or not you agree with the things that I'm saying or you disagreeing with the things that I'm saying. Come up on here and have a conversation. As I always say, this is a critical discussion and thinking channel. I don't have all of the damn answers. I think that I have a lot of them, but I don't have all of the damn answers. So I want to be able to hear from you guys as well. All right. Damn, there's already people coming into the Zoom. What you want to talk to me about? We ain't even get into the content yet, baby. Who's up here? Who's this? Joining. Hello? You're muted. What you mean don't put me on? You in the Zoom, baby.
Was waiting. Hi. I was
Hey, what's
waiting.
up? So you don't want me to so you don't want me to put the visual on the screen?
No, you can't.
Are you at work right now? What's going on?
Yes.
All right. I won't get you in trouble.
Talk about what I do, MTO.
Okay, hold on. I'm a let me see. How do I do this again? All right. I figured it out last stream. How are you? MTR was in the building, showing love, showing support. How are you? You all right? You wanted to say something about the Jubilee stream or the last stream that we had?
No, I wanted you to get started. I was just minding my business in here.
Okay, all right. Listen, they say I hate ladies all across the internet. What do you have to say to that? What's your thoughts, feelings, or perspectives on that? Let's go there real quick.
No, I think you keep it pretty level-headed. I've watched some other YouTubers that are very, very one-sided. But I think you keep it pretty level.
Don't say no names. You're going to get me into trouble, all right?
No names, but you can tell the hurt ones. You can always tell the hurt ones.
I try to keep it as level as what I possibly can. You know what I mean? But there's always room for growth as well as improvement. And I think a lot of my detractors never used to watch me have women sit right here and have conversations with them. And they just look at clips of people saying things and then they have a particular perspective. So it is what it is. Well, listen, I don't want to get you in
but
trouble.
We did bust you out in the chat yesterday.
You did what?
We're in a little bit of trouble.
Wait, you did what in the chat?
Yeah, we bust you out in the chat yesterday.
In the MTR chat? Oh, I didn't even see. Hold on, let me go. Let me go down. Because I mute the chat. I don't want to see what girls talk about. I don't care. You talk about your lashes and shit like that. I don't care. Right? It's not until someone ats me and I'm like, okay, what are they pinging me for? All right.
Yes, that's fair. But we had a little discussion about you yesterday.
Okay, I see some of the MTRs laughing down up in the chat.
You've been getting in trouble on these streets, MTR.
Uh-oh. Tell me about it. When am I not in trouble? So, all right, I'm going to go down there and look at the chat later. Shout out to all the MTRs. Listen, I want to get started on the stream. I don't want to get you in trouble at work, all right? But thank you so much for stopping by, all right?
No, I'll be here.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, let me see if I have my return to waiting room. Shout out to Evidence down in the building. Guys, put a 1 down up in here if you are ready to get started. Would wholeheartedly appreciate your attention to this matter. I guess before we get officially started, here's the conversation that we're going to be going over. Jubilee did one of these middle ground conversations, and the title of it, at least right now, I believe that they changed it a couple of times. I only date white men. Now, the thumbnail itself was like black women versus black men. So I took part of that and I put that, I think, into the title of this video. I don't even remember at this point. It was a day ago. This video only got like 300,000. I'm saying only, but for Jubilee, I feel like they're a million view channel. And you'll see some of the comments that are down up in here, which I think makes it worthy for dissection. This video is equivalent of walking into a room you didn't mean to walk into and very slowly walking back out. At this point, Jubilee is the enemy of progress, baby. CIA is throwing a party right now. Took me 11 minutes to realize that bro didn't have a hand. What? I don't know what that means. What does OnlyFans have to do with black women specifically? Why was this even a question? Dude with the dreads needs to be on a therapist couch, not a Jubilee chair. It's gotten a lot of different reactions, so I want to be able to go over it, right? We're going to have some fun with it. I see a bunch of ones that's down up into the building, so I guess that we are ready to get started, all right? Guys, again, hit on that like button. Make sure you share the content. Did I IG post? I'll bump IG. We could just go live. Also, too, before we officially get started, again, I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to go up here because I'm not sure if they're going to try to take down the video. I know, and shout out to all the I saw content creators calling and saying that, be careful, I appreciate that. With that being said, I have no intentions on keeping this video up afterwards. If anything, I might put it in the members only. So if you're a member aligned to the channel, that means hitting on the join button on YouTube. You might be able to see it there. But my understanding is that they're going to take all of the ad revenue, except for like the super chats. I believe that that's the way that's going to happen. And, inevitably, I don't know. So I know about that. But I don't know what's going to happen to the particular video. But nevertheless, I also wanted to shout out. Yes, there was a sponsor of the live stream today. Shout out to Aura. OK, you guys might have seen me talking about Aura as it refers to identity theft protection and all of these different things. Shout out to Aura. I've had a great working relationship with them and the team that's over there. And I talk about it like this, is that I was searching for my name online and found way too much personal information. And because of that, I was like, how did they get all this? How did they get all this information? So I went down deep and to figure out what's going on here and found out that there's essentially data brokers, they call them, that buy information from, let's say you went to go sign up at something and you gave your name, your address, your email information. They buy information from these people and they sell it online, or they put it on these public sites online. And, I'm not going to name the names of the different websites that they put it upon. It's numerous websites where people can find your public information. What Aura does, amongst many of the things that they do, is that they will find this information, and then they also have a service that will remove this information. Being a person like myself, and as well as, that's why in all of the videos where I see shit of like crazy ass people doing shit to people, I'm like, You got to be able to remove your private information from these public damn websites, right? And Aura has a service that does just that. And I partnered up with them. Let me drop this up on the screen real quick. I partnered up with them, all right, in order to give you guys 14 free days. Use my link, go down up in there and see if your information has been compromised. All right. And shout out to everybody that's been utilizing my link. You guys are doing a great service in supporting myself as a content creator, but then also a great service in checking to see if your information has been outed. And then having Aura being able to remove them is another benefit as well. And they have a whole bunch of other like identity theft type protection things happening. So Aura is the sponsor of today's stream. All right. Aura.com/MTR. Get after it. All right. Let me get this off the screen. Thank you guys. Anyway, let's just get down up in here. Let me get this off of the screen. And let me get the video up on here. Where's it at? What's the, okay, QuickTime. There you go, baby. I gotcha. Aura is a must. All right. Come on, talk about it. Aura is a must. Use that link, guys. All right, let's get down up in there. Oh shit, this is too big. Hold on. Let's go, guys. Let me turn this music off. Thing that the common trope today is about how black men don't like to date black women. Nevertheless, no black men stepped up at this particular question. All right. I also find it extremely whack at this current junction to continue to blame white colonizers. Right. I actually think a component of this young lady's explanation is more of the current day reality. Right. And it's not to say that what she said isn't true at a certain point, but there were some real issues between the genders as it refers to it, how it exists today, that I think that she's hitting on. And it's more modern as opposed to more of a victimhood mindset of what is happening today.
Conversation topic.
Down up in the South, that's what they supposed to be the least masculine, right? No, that's where they're supposed to be the Southern belles down there, baby. Don't they stop cooking down there too?
Like nice high, they're like what's up?
It's crazy how quickly that they're diving down deep to this. I would say that for the entertainment purpose, Jubilee has done a good job in bringing diametrically opposed opinions together.
What's up, Mike?
Let's get down to the meat of it, baby.
Oh my God.
Oh, they quit it? Can I be seen? We back? What's going on here? Test. Test. Okay. Wait a minute. You guys can see me? I'm looking down up into the chat. Okay. Is my mic messed up? We hear you. We can hear what happened. I don't know what happened. So I was just taking a look at my email and it says your stream was interrupted. Due to copyright match, your stream was interrupted. Streams are interrupted when copyright content is detected. After copyright material is no longer being streamed, streams are automatically re-enabled. That's what I just got, but am I still live right now? Technical difficulties, baby. Okay. It's like YouTube temporarily took it down. It's fine now. So let's not play. Okay, let's like. I don't know what's happening. Chat. Hold on. Let me. Hold on. Let's. Hold on. Let me take proper assessment of what is happening behind the stream. Yeah, it said policy violation stream canceled. But I'm still up here, baby. All right. You want to talk about a strong internet provider. You want to talk about a strong YouTube platform. You want to talk about the people want me back, baby. Damn it, Jubilee. Jubilee snitched. Crazy. Just play the audio with a still picture. I don't know how to do that live, right? Unless like I download the video, edit it with the sound, and then a still picture on top of all of it. You know what I could also do? We could react to other things. I was hearing this. Maybe we could play some of the Jubilee copycats, so to speak. You need a rumble. Let me get this off. All right. Damn, son, Jubilee. You was gonna get the revenue, Jubilee. What's going on? You was gonna get the revenue, baby. Who snitched? Hold on, let me get this up on the screen. YouTube.com. Damn, Jubilee. Okay. Give me a second, chat. I've done 1 or 2 reactions to this, the Dr. Daff show. And essentially, she's taking the Jubilee formula, and I don't believe that these are copyrighted. So you guys let me know, which one do you want me to go over? Fit versus plus size. Single versus married mothers. Trad wives versus boss babes. Ooh. I actually think I did a VOD to this one. That's why it looks like I watched some of it. Christian conservative women versus trans women. Pro-Israel versus pro-Al. I don't want to talk about that. That's not my thing. Shout out to Albatross for the $2 super chat. Thanks for all the content, MTR. Shout out again to Zoe. We still here, baby. Is the super chat button enabled? Or did they take down all monetization on the channel? Single versus married moms. This one?
Friendships.
I might have clicked in and watched like some of it. Share, copy. Let me try to download it real quick. Well, while that's happening, there's some folks that's down up in there that want to come up and say something. Super chat is fine. Okay, thank you. Hello, Asia? Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How are you?
Okay. Hey, peace to you. Thank you.
Peace to you as well. Yeah, for sure. Have you been watching? Did you see the stream go down?
I did, and I was thinking like Jubilee really some haters for that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If you more to your page, why you don't want to?
Yeah. The thing is that I knew that there was going to be a potential issue. I didn't think they were going to take the stream down. I just thought that it might be like monetization. They'll just take the monetization off, and I was cool with that. You know what I mean? That's not a problem for me. But yeah, apparently they have an auto blocker. You know, it's probably not even someone snitching. It's probably just like an automated system. I tested it out before, and I was online for like 30 minutes playing the video, and it didn't take it down. But that was unlisted. Maybe if you go public, it's different. But nevertheless, we'll try to get another one in here. But how are you? Do you have anything to share?
I'm good. I watch your page often. I've always wanted to say to you that I really enjoy your commentary.
Thank you.
As far as category, you hit things that most people don't hit. You kind of try to be very fair with your opinions. And,
I appreciate that. Is there any opinions that you don't rock with?
I mean, I don't take anything personally. So whatever you done said is your opinion. It's not been anything you said I've been like, oh, that's wrong. Nah, it's been pretty fair, like I said. And a lot of things need to be talked about and to be said. That's why I was excited for this video.
Yeah.
Because Black women and Black men, it's a conversation. I think that so we should just be talking, period, about the things that we don't understand about each other and the discrepancies that we have. I think it's important.
It's very important to do so. And, you know, I'm not sure how in depth that they were able to get on it on Jubilee, but it looked like it was about to be one of those conversations. Like it looked like it was about to go there. But
look, the girl was from St. Louis. I'm from St. Louis, and I kind of know. I say, yeah, she gonna take over that conversation.
She about to take over. You know, and here's the thing is that, like, you know, maybe we can, you know, take some of the Jubilee questions and, you know, come up with like a digital show, like a digital version of what they do up on Jubilee in order to kind of have these conversations, you know, and kind of make it more, you know, a lot more interactive where, you know, we can address these things live and direct and try to get people's perspectives. My assumption is that wherever the Jubilee conversation was about to go is appropriate for the times that we live today, you know, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want to be able to share their thoughts on it.
I did disagree with one thing that you said. It was something that you just said, though. And it wasn't like I disagree. I just think that it mattered more than you said that it mattered.
Okay. Do you remember what that was?
Where the young lady on the show, on the Jubilee thing, was saying how she think that, I wouldn't say colonization, more so than I would just say the whole fact of slavery as a whole. I feel like
But so the problem with it is a couple of issues that I always like to harken back to. The main issue for me is that, you know, I understand the significance of, you know, colonization and the slave trade for African Americans, but there's been many other cultures of people that have been enslaved as well, and they don't show as much ridiculousness between the cultures, right? Now, if you want to go on and then say, well, it's not just the colonization, but it's also, you know, policies, rules, and laws, you know, pre-civil rights. You know, there's more of an argument as to why there's such a split. But I like the modern definition is that there's still a lot of agony, strife, and disagreements between both men and women that can just be removed by having conversations or mindset shifts and changes. So while I agree that there's components of this that is in fact true, I compare it to other cultures that have gone through. So I get something similar, not to the magnitude. Again, I'm not a history professor, but at the same time, it seems as though there are those within our same community that don't give a fuck about bringing relationship value ship together, and instead they'll rather take the dollar to disrespect those in their same community, paid for by another man that doesn't look anything like them and is not for their community, but they would rather accept the dollar as opposed to ride for what is righteous and true and what we know works the majority of the time. You know, that's why I talk about so many of these modern day. I'll pause right there. I know I'm going off on a tangent right now, but any response to that?
That makes sense, though. You just don't want us to focus on it.
I don't want you to focus on it, baby.
On it. Okay, all right. Well, I respect that, and I appreciate you.
You know why? And let me also add additional context to that. It's kind of like the argument of, I don't know if you've been watching the content of Rampage's son. Have you seen that?
What's that?
Okay, yeah, you must have a good life. You don't know what's happening on the internet. So there's a situation where there's an MMA fighter and his son just almost killed a man. And the thing is like, no matter what he did in that ring, no matter if he's blaming, you know, the live streamers that prompted him to do it, if he's blaming his father for his odd relationship, shit, he might blame colonizers. He might blame the guy that kind of gave him that positioned him to throw a receipt, and then he took it to a whole nother level. He might blame it on his misunderstanding of what a receipt is. But the fact is, what was the result? The result is the actions that he took. And my thing is like, either he could focus on the past or he could seek help for where he is right now. And that's my component of the argument, is that we could talk about all these different things, but I'd rather talk about how we can fix it today, a solution for it today.
And then so that make a lot of sense, because for her to be like, oh well, that's my reason why I date outside my race. Like I
think it's a cop out. I think it's a cop out. I think that there's some benefit that she is getting, or maybe she is removing herself from a community that there's a degree of trauma or like bad experiences with. And I don't care at the end of the day. Survival of the fittest out here. I don't care what race that you go to, but don't try to explain it away as something that you don't actively feel yourself or you contributed to yourself today.
Right.
So, and that's why I try to tell people to get out that victim mindset, please.
I was just going to say that, because fixing that really could offer a lot of healing, not just to yourself, but also to the Black man as well. But yeah. So yeah. Oh, and also for the next category, you could do that video about, I think everybody wanted the single mothers versus because I'm a single mother, and
okay, I got it teed up. Wait, you said wait, I missed it. You said I'm a single mother and what?
I'm a single mother, and I love your opinions that you have about single mothers. I find them interesting, to say the least. But I do find them justified as well. So I just love to hear you talk about that. That's very interesting.
I appreciate you. Asia, are you part of the MTRs? We got to get you down up in there.
I need to be.
Yeah. How about you just send me an email whenever you get an opportunity. Let me know who you are, and then I'll give you the link to it. I think you need to try to meet some of the lovely young MTRs that are back up in there. All right?
Community. All right, y'all.
Community. Come on. Where are you from again?
I'm from St. Louis. Have you ever been?
Have I been to St. Louis? No, I haven't been to Missouri. You live there now?
I live here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully you're not in the part of St. Louis that I hear about. Hopefully you're safe out there. Did we lose her? Damn, man, the internet connections, are we still live? Who knows? I might be gone right now. Chat, are we? We live? Gosh. It's hilarious. I think part of the reason that she called in is because the young man was talking shit about the Southern Belles and she wanted to come in and represent the Southern Belle. Shout out to everybody that's down up in the building. I think I'm still live, so I'm still going to talk like we live, baby. All right. But let's get active. All right, guys. Put a one down up into the chat if you guys are ready for the single versus married mother discussion. All right. We going to just... That's what we do out here. All right. We build the plane as we fly. If one video don't work, we going to come back in it. But for the sake of it, shame, Jubilee. Where's my...
Shame.
Jubilee.
Shame.
On you.
Shame.
For the streets.
Shame.
For the avenue.
Shame.
For the turnbuckle.
Shame.
Shame this network. All right, let me bring this up on the screen. Oh. Damn, son. I don't know if this lady went to Jubilee Studios and was like, yo, I need your trade secrets, but that's crazy. It looked exactly like the studio and everything. That's wild. All right, let's go.
I totally agree with that, and I also tell my daughter, oh, you're creative like your dad, or you're smart like your dad, oh, you look like him. And it builds this figure, like maybe it's imaginary, but it's next to her that she's proud of, and it's working out really well.
All I'll say is you don't need that man to be that influential person. I jokingly tell my mom all the time, I married my mom because she was that strong woman in my life. She showed me how to hold down a job and how to support her family. And she gave me all those life skills and everything. So when I looked for someone to marry, it wasn't about it being a man or a woman. It was someone who was gonna take care of me, someone who was gonna support me. So it doesn't just have to be that father figure that gives you those ideas of what will make a good partner.
Oh, we gonna get in there.
You all can give that same exact, love and show them what it's like to have that partner in them.
Hello, everyone, and
if I had a significant mother that said publicly, I'm in a relationship with you because you remind me of my mother, right hook.
welcome to the Dr. Daff Show. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Daff. Welcome to the episode of The Bridge, Single Mothers versus Married Mothers. Motherhood is a journey filled with love,
I'm just kidding, by the way.
And challenges.
Let me also say that before we keep going.
Does the experience change based on relationship status? Single mothers and married mothers often face different struggles and societal perceptions, from balancing responsibilities alone to navigating partnership dynamics. Is one path harder than the other? Do single mothers feel judged? And do married mothers feel misunderstood? In this episode of The Bridge, we bring both sides together to share their experiences, challenges, and perspectives, seeking understanding beyond the labels of single and married. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Daff. Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm a queen. I'm a single mom.
All right, before we get started, all the ladies that are down up in it, can we put a poll down up in there? Any moderators, let's put a poll down up in there. How many of y'all are single moms and how many of y'all are married moms? If we could put it down up into the chat.
Hi, I'm Mary Pierce. I'm a single mom.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Annie. I'm a single mom.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Raylyn. I'm a single mom.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Amber Wright, and I'm a married mom.
All right.
Hi, I'm Lucille Sarkodie, and I'm a married mom.
All right.
Hello, I'm Damaris Hernandez, and I'm a married mom.
Mm-hmm.
And the first prompt is, do you think single mothers can be just as emotionally fulfilled as married mothers? Okay, anyone who'd like to speak, you can just speak.
I'll speak. I think we can. Sometimes being single is a choice. Everybody's not a single mother because they, got the wrong man. Some people are by choice because they just, like me, just got out of our situation, didn't want to be married anymore. And I'm very fulfilled. Like, I still go out, I turn up, do karaoke.
She's a liar.
Actress now. I'm just living it. I'm happier to me.
So. No, not at all. Baby, there's no way that you're happier within your choices and the decisions, knowing that you decided to get up on here. And not only Chuck Taylors, knee-high socks, and a damn neon, what are these, bubble jacket with cut-off sleeves, with a Laura Croft weave ponytail out the back of your head, which is a different color than the hair on the like, this is just wild. I do not believe you. You're still trying to figure it out. You're still trying to figure out life out, and you just encountered someone that had a eggplant and went raw daddy, and now you're still trying to figure out life. Like, it just stop lying.
So I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I am married now, but I was divorced, and for a time period, I was single, raising two daughters. And during that time period, I wouldn't say that I wasn't fulfilled. My focus was on my children, and I just immersed myself in my children's activities and, made sure that I found a way to rejuvenate and have fun as well. So I think being single doesn't mean that you're not fulfilled. Like you said, it could be by choice.
Oh, I have to say, I've also been on both sides. I used to be married, now I'm single. At first it was really hard to navigate, because you never go into a marriage thinking this is gonna end at one day, right? So, but when I became single, I married very young, and when I became single, I was able to kind of show a different side of myself to my daughter. There was a lot of pressure that was kind of lifted off of me because I had an opportunity to focus on myself and what I wanted, not as a mother, but as a person. And so I feel like my daughter got this more whole version of me because I wasn't constantly trying to care for every single person in my life. And so there's a different type of fulfillment. I think that naturally, if you want a partner, of course, you're gonna wonder. But I think when it comes to parenting and that different type of presence you have with your child when you're single, it's just a different experience overall.
I think I'm the only one who put
She didn't
Red
answer
up.
the question.
I came from Ukraine 10 years ago, just me and my daughter. And 7 years out of it, I probably was single. And I can say that I don't think that woman can be, at times, yes, but most of the time we want to be loved, we want to be taken care of, we want to be supported and feel safe, and it's just not there. And I think that, coming out of divorce, definitely you need some time to have fun. And I thought that, maybe 2 years and I'll get married, but it's been 10 years and I'm not. And I definitely feel that longing for being taken care of, and that's why I think that it's not possible to get that when you're alone. Luckily, I'm right now in committed relationships, and I just see the difference. It's such a big difference.
This is going to be the episode of Cope.
Thank you.
So being emotionally fulfilled, I've been single more than I've been in a relationship. So maybe I've been in a relationship for 2 years, the longest, but majority of the time I've been single. And with that, I'm saying emotional fulfillment, for me, can come from my friends, can come from their great-grandparents or their grandparents. It can come from my mentors and colleagues in school. And so I don't think it necessarily needs to be a male partnership for me to feel emotional fulfillment. I feel that through, other things. And like I said, I spent majority of my life, single, so.
Let's be real, falling in love is the easy part, but staying connected over time, that's a different story.
What's this?
Life gets busy, and before you know it, meaningful conversations take a back seat. If you're feeling like you're just going through the motions with your partner, it might be time for a change. That's where Paired App, the sponsor of today's episode, comes in. Paired App is a relationship app that helps couples deepen their bond every single day. Whether you're dating, you're married, or you're just starting out, it's designed
to keep
your relationship strong.
I thought I figured out how to skip ahead. Apparently, I did not. I apologize.
And fun. With daily prompts, expert advice, and fun challenges.
We just gonna mute it just for the time being. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, my summation of the answers that we just heard right there is, it's just a lot of cope. Asking someone whether or not they're going to be emotionally fulfilled, and right, the answer, right, like the truth within the answer is that, you can get a degree of emotional fulfillment from anywhere, but let's face it, our most important relationship is with our significant others, and we're not meant to be alone, especially women, right? We're tribal people. Women much more bond with emotional connections and deep, loving relationships, and inevitably, the majority of them are longing for security and protection, right? So to hear a few of those single mothers, come up with that because they are now not selectable, one might say, to cope and to say that, here we go. To cope and to say, well, I can get it from other places outside of a man, right? But let's keep going. Do you think that married mothers face just as many struggles as single mothers?
Face just as many struggles as single mothers?
I personally feel like it is just as many struggles, but it could be two different ballparks. I married my high school sweetheart, and we're still married. And I feel like when it comes to just day-to-day life, it's not only tending my little ones, but also navigating it with my husband, and then aside from that, myself. So I feel like that extra person can really throw things off balance, especially because we both grew up together in a way, if we knew each other since high school and the beginning of parenthood. We started young. We had my first and second, like, really close together. And it's just hard. I see the different issues that could arise when it comes to hanging out with friends, because I could barely do that because I try to prioritize myself to keep the house kind of balanced. And then that friends are kind of like an external factor, so that's kind of in the back end. But I feel like there is a lot of internal struggles that I have to go through because I feel like I have to tend my kids and my husband before myself. And whether that's not being able to go out with friends or having to postpone, let's say, a shower a day or something like that. I feel like they both have just as many struggles, but it could be completely different.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been with my husband for 18 years, married 17 of those, and he's always been that strong backbone in our life where if something came up, he's always like, it's only temporary, we'll get through this. And he's also the overthinker that will put so much stress on top of something that didn't actually need that added stress. But the last couple of years we've been navigating my mom having a couple of strokes and now having heart issues. My son has been in and out of the hospital over the last 2 years and has to use a wheelchair right now. And so I grew up with a single parent mom, and so I saw her not have a village and doing it on her own. I think the only way we're surviving, even being married, is that we have a really good village around us. So it isn't necessarily family, it's our friends that are backing us up and getting my daughter to school because I've been up all night with my son, or I spent a whole month in the hospital with my son, and I saw my daughter twice in that month. So I think like when you...
It's actually a difficult, I'm beginning to understand, and we'll decide whether or not we keep on watching this. It's difficult right, like, you ask these open-ended questions and they just go on these diatribes of shit that really it's really personal to their own life, right? And they don't stop and then ask follow-up questions in order to dive a little bit deeper. Like, so the question is it easier for married versus single? And she's talking about how hard that our life currently is. Well, guess what, baby? It'd be a lot harder if the man wasn't there. So it's almost like they're talking in a way to just talk about their own stories while still coddling for the feelings of other people within the room.
You have a marriage, like you were saying, that you have that extra person now that you have to check on instead of just checking yourself and then keeping your kids together. You now have a whole nother adult that could be running a marathon of their own issues that they see on their side that maybe you don't see. And that's hard because I'm very go with the flow, and my husband will come in and he has to think of the 1,000 scenarios that could go down that, and he stresses himself out more. And then instead of just being able to navigate the situation, I'm now navigating his situation and trying to reel him back in, and that can be hard sometimes.
I think sometimes society will obviously make it appear that when you're married, you don't have any issues. Like, you have a husband, you have your children, you have help, so you have everything kind of together. And sometimes don't think about some of those things that, yes, but he is another person that you have to, in some ways, take care of in that sense too. So it may not be all that it always seems. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's just so stupid, right? Like, let's say you're building a house, and would it be easier to build a house with one person or two people? Right? Chat, answer that. Would it be easier? Here's the thing. There's going to be pros and cons of both. It will be physically more demanding, if damn near impossible, to do it on your own, right? But with two people, shit, one day the other person may not show up to work, right? They got this happening, that happening. But the fact of the matter is that it's right. Like, if you manage the situation correctly, right? You split up tasks, right? Like, it's going to be easier and more feasible than with one person. It's almost like they can't just say that.
What do you ladies think?
I think I'm, again, only one red. I don't know, maybe it's because I had to deal with this in the foreign country with the kid, but I think if I had someone during that time, I would still have someone to rely on or to share negatives and positives together, and I didn't have that. And it was constant flight or fight mode and a lot of stress. So, yeah, I think that single motherhood is much more hard.
Way more hard.
Married.
Yes.
Especially to do it successfully. And we could take a look at all of the numbers, the data in regards to two-parent household versus a single mother household. And what's interesting is actually a single father household, actually the numbers are more similar to two-parent household if it's just single father. But at the same junction, right, like, that's why it's so important that of whoever you let into your damn vagina not be a moron, that he be competent, that he leads with integrity, masculinity. That's why it's so damn important. So when you talk about modern day feminism, right, the pushing of sexual liberation and all this other shit like that, that's why I talk so ill of that shit, right? To watch all these baby moms go back later and complain about this guy, but you laid on your goddamn back for the motherfucker. So I don't want to hear shit about it, all right? Cry me a river, give me my goddamn world's tiniest violin, but we got to be able to talk about it.
You believe that those benefits outweigh the fact that you're having to take care of him and do those things because you have someone taking care of him.
Providing to a child, maybe because I'm coming from a very poor family and constant fear of getting there again and be in that situation. It also adds to the stress. But yeah, the survival mode was the hardest thing probably during the last 10 years.
Of course, yes. Thank you for sharing that. Did you want to share?
Yes. So I'm surprised by what they shared because, as a single mother, I feel like, you are the breadwinner. If you have a husband or a partner, maybe they're bringing in some income, you're bringing in some income. You're doing the laundry, you're doing the dishes, you're making the lunches, you're picking up, you're dropping off. You're everywhere on the assembly line if you're single. So the assumption is if you do have somebody that they alleviate
at least she's being
some
truthful.
Of the to-do list of what you have to do. So I'm really surprised that that you guys are saying that depending on the partner and what they come with, that it could not be as easy. That's something that people don't even factor in.
Yeah, that's true. Depending on the partner, it can change everything.
Oh, God. I keep saying that partner.
I believe that.
Oh, God. What you believe, Big Mama? What in the feminism do you believe, Big Mama? Let's get it.
You still struggle as a married woman. I was both. Married and single, and I used to be feeling like a single mom still. My husband used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to construction and get home at 6. And by then I took the kids to school, I picked them up. I played with him. I took him to the park. I did their homework. I got them in the tub. I fed them, and then he came home, and that was it.
Where's my red flag?
All he did is slept and ate.
Yo, this is so crazy. And the thing is like, you know, what she's describing is the founder is some of the breakdown shit. You could put this on the goddamn, the Jubilee black woman versus white. And the thing is like, even outside, like the bastard was working. It sounds like you was a stay-at-home mom. A single mom is going to be working at the same time of trying to take care of the children or paying extra money for the daycare. Okay? You didn't, don't sound like she was working. So how you feel like a single mom when you have income coming in by the other person in the relationship? You're not building the house with one person. He's doing his part as well. And he was tired. He was tired. It sounds like he was working 12-hour days, but you felt like a single mom.
All day I had to do that, 5 days a week. So on the week.
The more that you hear women like this talk, no wonder that they found themselves single. And the thing is that she's watched daytime talk show after daytime talk show, Lifetime episode after Lifetime episode. She's watched all of the social media. Independent queen, don't need no man. Well, I can get up about my own. I take care of these kids myself. And I guarantee you, slowly but subtly over time, she would say little things like, you never home for me. Right? Well, go do this for the kids. Baby, I've been working. I worked literally 13 hours yesterday. Oh, okay. You know, you just not doing enough for the family. Oh. This is where it starts, baby. But notice the image. The image matching the behavior. That's why I go over the image so often, why I deep dive into the damn Instagrams. I'm a check, see if they got their Instagrams in this video.
Kids, I would try to put it off on him, but I still feel like I still had struggles. I was on the phone with my sister more than my husband.
I bet you the sister was single as hell too. And then sister chirping in the background. Damn, he never home like that? Damn. What's he doing all day? Oh, I bet you not even working 12 hours per day. I bet you he's over at Cindy Lou's house. Yeah, you know Cindy Lou? Oh! Singleness. Forever keeping these ones single, baby.
And my friends and trying to like be on Facebook and trying to see what's going on in the world. But I didn't feel like I had a lot of support as a married woman, so.
And this goes back to my G's right here. Is that if they ride with this feminism bullshit, if they have an inept disrespect for men, if they've come from single mothers that have also unhealed the trauma within their life, they talk ill of men, right? All of their homegirls in the space, all single moms as well. You gotta be eerily aware that this is where they're gonna go, especially have the image like this. Damn.
I feel like you still have struggles.
I'm not.
Dog, she's dressed like a Bratz doll. You guys remember Bratz? Do they still do the Bratz dolls from the 90s? Hold on, let me bring it. Yeah, like this is the bullshit. She's dressed like the Caucasian Bratz doll over here. Hold on. She's dressed just like it, baby. Hold on, let me put this up on the side. How do I make this shit bigger? She's dressed just like him. Look at that. Look at that on the left right here. Look at this on the left, on the right over here. This is absolutely absurd work. Let's go.
I'm not sure if any of you guys have dealt with this too. I feel like I kind of experienced the same thing where there were times that I felt like I was a single mother when I was married. But when I became a single mother, I feel like there was a sense of community among women around me, and like they almost felt like they have to stand up for me, right? Because I had friends. I was very isolated when I was married. I didn't hang out with anybody. Like my friends was my family, you know, and just like you, I'd kind of like put them off to the back burner, go out maybe once a year. And they saw me go through this separation, and they all kind of stood up for me, and like they were there helping me navigate. And so it was a really interesting situation to feel more supported when I became single, and to realize that I had this community, because we all went through it at that time, you know? So I understand exactly what you were saying. Like, I would come home sometimes 11 o'clock, and my ex-husband, though a wonderful father, would fall asleep on the couch, and my daughter's playing, so I would still have to get her ready for bed and then do the nighttime routine, and then, you know, wind her down, and it's midnight and I couldn't do anything for myself, you know, and it's exhausting. And so there is a sense of community, I feel like, that I was very blessed to have once I became a single mom.
Okay, so the next prompt is, are children of single mothers at a disadvantage compared to children of married mothers, and why?
Interesting.
I'll go first. Sure. I feel like they are. My son, Ali, has never met his dad his whole life.
Damn.
And when he see other kids with their dads, he's kind of like a little bit sad. And like, he calls everybody dad. Like, if he meets another guy and the kid is calling him dad, he's calling him dad too. And I do feel like it's a disadvantage because I have another son. When we split up, his dad and I split up, he did a whole turn around. Like, he started feeling like, you know, empty and hanging out with all these friends and started doing drugs, and it just went a whole crazy left. So I do feel like kids that are single, for the single parents, have a disadvantage, even in relationships. You grow up thinking certain stuff is okay because you didn't see a mom and dad in your household. So I do feel like they have it's not easy and they have it hard, so yeah.
I think again, I'm looking at this from when I became single, and I think it depends on you as the mother to make sure that your children don't suffer from, you know, not having their father physically in the house with them. So for me, what I did was like I said, I just took the responsibility of making sure that I exposed my kids to a lot of things. You know, they thought I worked at their school because I was always there. I was the PTA president. You know, I did a lot with them that I felt like that, you know, obviously divorce is the hardest thing. It's very hard. I'm not minimizing that. I've gone through it. But at the same time, I think once you become single, it's up to you, the mother, to make sure that your children don't feel that they are at a disadvantage. And I did that by just making sure that I sacrificed some of my own time, and I spent a lot of time with my kids and, you know, making sure we did a lot of things together. Mm-hmm.
Did your kids ever ask about, like, oh, where's my dad, or I want to see my dad? Like, how did you handle those conversations?
Absolutely.
Because sometimes, sometimes some kids, they're afraid to even bring it up to their mother because they feel like it's going to bother them, and they don't want to show that they're missing having a father and that kind of thing. So how did you deal with that?
I think initially we had every other weekend where he would pick them up. So that helped. And also, I didn't prevent them from talking to their dad. I didn't speak badly about their dad to them. Good. So they had the open opportunity to, you know, call their dad and vent if they needed to. I gave them that space. And every other weekend when he picked them up, it was like, you know, a great opportunity for them to connect. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
I agree with you when you said that, not bad-mouthing the father, because my dad was never in the picture at all. There was never those promises to pick me up and then not showing up. He was just plain gone. So my mom always made sure to not necessarily build him up to a person he wasn't, but just let his own actions kind of speak for himself, but never say horrible things about him, and just would say things like, well, you don't know what's going on in his life, so maybe one day he'll figure it out, or, you know, and he'll come back around. We'll get there. And I think that I saw my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law go through their divorce and how it affected the children being so evil towards each other. It's like you had love for each other. At some point, you now have these beautiful creations in front of you. Don't destroy them with those words, because it follows them so much. And I am grateful for what my mom did, because I just found my dad 3 years ago. And when I asked him why he never looked for me, he said he did a few times, but after so many years, he figured I hated him. So having those conversations, so actually it was really healing for him and my mom too, because he said he wants to build monuments to her because he goes, I figured you would have filled her head with so many bad words about me, which would have been okay because I totally abandoned you guys. But he goes, but you didn't, and now I have my grandchildren. And I actually, before I found him, I found a whole bunch of half-siblings of his. So when I found him, I gave him a whole family. And that's been a wonderful journey to add and just keep, and also, even if someone is bad when they're younger, we don't know their life experiences and how that'll change them. So maybe they weren't a good father when they were younger, but maybe they have the opportunity to be a better grandfather when your kids get older or something like that. So always just try and leave that open.
I have a question. How did you go about finding your husband, not having a father like your whole life?
That, yeah. I have to give my mom props because she was very, like, she made bad choices in men, so that she chose not to date a lot when I was younger because she was always scared she would find somebody that was abusive because she said that's what she tended to be drawn to.
Now, I saw down into the chat. We had the survey, how many single moms versus married moms. Married moms came out to almost 80%, 20% single moms. If one of the mods, I wanted to do a different question, which is how many of you in the chat were raised in a single parent household versus two-parent household? Actually, let's do single mom, single father, and both married. Let's do it like that. Yeah, let's do it like that. All right, let's keep going.
So I think after the time I was about 5 years old, I don't ever remember my mother dating much after that. But she said she made a choice, and to this day, she's still single. But my mom just said communication, talk, get to know the person, be their friend first, because that's what's gonna save your marriage if you have that communication. So when I met my husband, he was going through a divorce, and I refused to date him. Even though he was looking to date, I said no. I said, we have a lot of things in common. I'll be your friend, but I actually started dating somebody else, and I just remained friends with him, but we kept the dialogue between us open with the conversation. And we really just, what we ended up finding out was we had a lot of things in common, but get down into the nitty-gritty of don't be afraid to say what you want. Because if they're not willing to back that, then they don't really care about you as much as you maybe care about them. Because experiencing what me and my husband are experiencing with all the medical stuff with my kids and my mother, you need that strong friendship in those times where there is no lover part of you. When your mind takes over the lover, that part is gone because women, we are so cerebral when we get into those things. So that part of us tends to go. But if you can have that friendship and those communications, that's what gets us through even when we're struggling. We just like really tell
New
each other.
poll in the chat.
Like, I need this more from you right now. Or I say, I don't have that to give, but let's take 10 minutes, even if it's just run to the grocery store and we hold hands while going to the grocery store really quick to get back, or just walk outside and get fresh air or something, or I don't know.
We got it. We got it.
You find the moments, but I think that's the only reason we have made it through these tough times is because of that beginning friendship that we told each other we were going to take care of our parents if they were sick. We didn't want this.
Jesus
we didn't want
Christ,
that because
shut
with
up.
him going through his divorce, his ex didn't speak up. And
I don't know how dudes marry young ladies. I'll be honest. I don't know how women marry dudes that just just go on and on and on. It's, you know what it is? Maybe I'm projecting my own insecurities. I think these people that could just talk long form and not have anybody talk. Now that I think about it, my dad was like this. I would talk to my dad on the phone. I could put the phone down, go to the bathroom, go do the laundry, come back upstairs, and he'll be still talking to his damn self. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'll shut up.
he was telling her all he wanted, but she was like, oh, yeah.
Land the plane, baby.
Yeah. And so that was really hard for him. So for us, that's really, I feel, kept it. Not saying
I call them ear beaters. I used to work with these sons of bitches, and it'd just be like, you got to get work done. You know, I used to work like in a cubicle environment. It's like, you got to get the goddamn work done, baby. Don't you dare, when you get some free time, you come over here and beat my fucking ear to death, all right? Just standing over your desk and just bang, bang. So anyway, my kids last Saturday night, we was going off to the baseball game, bang, bang. You just shut the fuck up. That's what you're saying in your mind. You know what I'm saying? And after a certain junction, you got to be like, all right, but listen, I actually have some work to do. So I don't have to go back later beyond work hours and get some goddamn emails done. Can you please? There was actually a portion of my career. This is when I went more into. I was a digital product manager, and they put us in a co-working space, and within that, it had low cubicles, so you could be looking across the damn right. It wasn't right like it, we weren't sectioned off. It was like these desks, and you could see everybody, so people knew if you was busy or not. And there's a lot of people, the ear beaters, they don't give a shit. They'll come around you and just, oh, it looked like you looked away from your computer screen for 2 seconds. Let me come over there and just beat your damn ear to death. That's why I was like, one of the benefits of COVID, because then I actually got more work done because I was able to just focus on the computer screen just to get, this, that, and the third done. But them damn ear beaters, man. God, have mercy on your soul. Which type of household did you grow up in? 44% of y'all were raised by single moms. 6% of y'all single dads. Shout out to the single dad crew. Both parents present, 50-50. Okay. All right. Interesting survey. All right, let's keep on going.
We haven't struggled or had our issues with it, but once we realize we need that communication, it makes a difference.
Thank you. Quick question for ladies on the side. Do any of you have daughters?
I do.
Okay, so how does not being married, how do you think that's going to affect your daughters? Because sometimes as a single parent, not having the husband, you may worry that your children are not going to have those same experiences as someone who's married, especially with her learning about how to deal with men and just the protection aspect of it. Can anyone speak to that?
Yeah, so I have a daughter. She's 8 years old now. A little bossy. I feel that.
You know what? Shout out to ATL Flippers. I'm probably going to be a motor mouth. You right, my brother. You are. That's why I love my chat. Right? You guys are geniuses. You're damn right. I probably will. I'm probably going to raise my children the same way that my dad raised me, which is just to talk your goddamn ear off. I got time today. See, my dad had more time in the day because he was a school teacher, so he'd be able to get off before I got off and just talk. Some of the times he'd come pick me up, but my dad was a talker, baby. You know what's interesting? Now that I think about it, I feel like he was only a talker with me. So shout out to ATL Flippers. You're 1,000% correct. I probably will be an ear beater just to my children.
I didn't have a father figure, in my life. And going back to like the disadvantaged, I don't think that she will be disadvantaged, I will say that. Because it depends on the spouse.
You know what? Before we get into this question, there is somebody that's been back here. Let me just see. Also, pinned to the top of the chat is if you guys want to be able to call in and have a conversation. What's up, brother? How are you?
Not much. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. What you got for me, bro? Are you going to talk about the topic?
Yeah, the topic about black single mothers and married mothers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. Yeah.
What you got for me?
I advise single mothers should date single dads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move over a little bit.
All right.
Please. Thank you.
Oops.
No, you got it, bro. Okay, so it's not about the actual content. It's just a recommendation. Single mothers and single. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah. I think that I often now. How old are you, bro?
I'm 29.
Okay. Have you dated single moms before?
No, because I don't want to get myself unlive.
You don't want to get yourself what?
Unlive, because I can't say the K word. So I'm gonna say unlive because I heard stories about men dating single mothers, they end up getting murdered.
What?
Yeah, it's the truth.
From what? exactly? I'm interested.
Because I heard stories about this Memphis rapper got murdered all because he was dating a woman with kids.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now. You're saying that, being the other guy, it's a risk to you as a man. If anything, bro, the thing is that I generally like to think in terms of, not extremes within the situation in order to guide my thoughts. I like to go with general percentages and rules of thumb. It's not often that happens. It does happen, right? It does happen. There is a percentage that it could happen, but it's probably less than 1% that'll be your inevitable outcome. Of all of the reasons, that shouldn't be your priority as the reasons is to not date single moms. but yeah. So you haven't dated single moms because you might die.
Yeah, because I don't want to get murdered. So I chose not to date women with kids. It's too dangerous.
I don't know where to go with that, bro. That's a very extreme thought. Shit. You have any other extreme thoughts that you think other people would receive value from?
Yes, sir. I try to tell men just do not date women with kids because it's gonna lead to getting hurt or even worse, jail and murder. I'm just telling you the truth.
Well, the thing is that again, if I go off of the majority of cases, usually it's based off of time, attention, your finances, whether or not the kid is going to respect you as a father, whether or not you can discipline someone else's child. I generally go off of those talking points. Whether or not you're gonna die or not is a critically low percentage of the time that's going to happen. But could it happen? Yeah. But we don't go off of could have so much as what can happen the majority of the time. I think the death thought is too defensive of a position. What do you think about that?
I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you.
Okay. We agree. Shout out, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me go back to the reaction. All right. All right, boss.
Me too. Peace out.
I'm going to have to add that talking point to the bandwagon, baby. You might die. What do the single mamas think that of it? What do you guys think? You out here, you going to kill us? All right? You going to get the baby father. You going to get the baby. Hold on. Where's my book of talking points? I'm going to write that son of a bitch. Right? Why would I choose you if I might die? Shit. Shout out to that brother right there. I wanna. He needs to be a ghostwriter for Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews Productions, right? I low key want his take on a lot more, right? Like I kind of want to invite him back in, and we got to have a great conversation about child support, the family court system. I want to have a great conversation. Let's just get back into the content.
And what they're presenting, or the dad and what they're presenting. If they're presenting domestic violence, if they're presenting instability, if they're presenting, I have a job, 9 different jobs in 1 year, if they're presenting smoking and alcoholism. So as a mother, you provide a safe haven, and that person comes in and they disrupt that. So I think that my daughter recognizes what it looks like for it to be safe and to be fearless, in the home versus, a man that comes in and obstructs something like that. And so, we do talk about dating and boys, and if she's curious about things and she watches different healthy shows on her iPad about, dating relationships or boy and girl dynamics, and I don't think that she's gonna be disenfranchised. Or I feel like for myself, I'm a success that came from a single mother. Bachelor's degree, master's degree, things like that. And I feel like if you put good interventions in, then you can get good outcomes. So I don't worry about her. And I hope that, she will be a success. And
don't her hair look like it smell good?
She will, navigate dating and marriage, in a healthy way.
Thank you.
I think with my daughter, actually, being single worked for her as advantage, because from the day one, I told her, you're on your own. Like, I'm not gonna help you with your homework. I don't have time for that, and I also didn't want to do it. And so she became very resilient, responsible, very her own person. And I think to the topic of how she would date people in the future, she saw me during the last 10 years dealing with my own self-worth, and I grew up as a person, and she was observing me, and she learned so much. And now she's 15, and some of her girlfriends started dating, and she's not needy. She doesn't really need a boy. She's just waiting for the perfect and good one. And I'm actually very, very proud of her. And I feel that probably me in some way influenced her. And she's very self-sufficient and has her own self-worth. Yeah.
My daughter is 21, believe it or not, but I had her when I was 19. She's seen a lot. Well, I just hid a lot from them. They didn't see their dad like a bad guy, because I used to just hide it. At night, he would act up, and they would never know. But with her, she's not interested in men like that. She dated a lot of guys that kind of look like her dad. So she liked chocolate and tall and dark skin, but.
She's not into men like that, but she dated men that look like her dad. Chat, what y'all think about this? MTR, would you marry a woman with a child? No.
She and smarter guys, her boyfriend's smarter than her, but she's not really interested in a relationship. She's kind of just like me. She just want to just live her life and have fun and.
Oh God, the cycle continues, baby. How you 50 looking like a cartoon character?
Her dreams, so it's I don't know.
You don't feel like it had that much of an impact?
No.
I think going back to not bad mouthing the father or your ex, whoever it is, to their children. I think you want to set them up where in the future they're not skeptical of men. If they choose to date, they're not going to think that, oh, my mother said this about my dad, or I saw this, and that's how all men are. So, I commend the ladies that really make sure that you shield your children from, having this negative perception about their father.
Yeah.
Eventually,
she
with
seems
time,
the most grown.
If anything needs to come up, it'll come up once the kids grow up. But I feel like it's not our responsibility to share those negative things to our children, especially girls, because then, how would they date? They go into relationships with their guards up because they feel like that's how all men are.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think some mothers may think that they're protecting their child from him, and that's why they have to say these things so that they don't get their hopes up or things like that. But like you said, that could actually bring fear and cause more problems, and they're going to find out eventually.
I totally agree with that. And I also tell my daughter, oh, you're creative like your dad, or you're smart like your dad,
she props
or you
up.
look like him. And it builds this figure, maybe it's imaginary, but it's next to her that she's proud of, and it's working out really well. I can see it.
Yeah, it's to me, it's such a good point, and I want to hear back from the young lady with the Lara Croft ponytail, the Goro from Mortal Kombat ponytail, because undoubtedly the way that the young girl is dealing with boys or men within her life is as a result of the way that the mother has failed with men within her life. To say odd things she don't care about boys, she wants a boy that's smarter than him. Meanwhile, she dates boys that look like her father. That poor young girl, deeply confused, deeply in a misunderstanding, right? She's just taken up after her mother, right? So having negative thoughts in her opinions, or just having sex with boys without a future thought in mind, right? It's that's bred from the way that she's watched her mother deal with men throughout her life.
All I'll say is you don't need that man to be that influential person. I jokingly tell my mom all the time, I married my mom.
Here we go.
Because she was that strong woman in my life. She showed me how to hold down a job and how to support her family. And she gave me all those like life skills and everything. So when I looked for someone to marry, it wasn't about it being a man or a woman. It was someone who was going to take care of me, someone who was going to support me. So it doesn't just have to be that father figure that gives you those ideas of what will make a good partner. You all can give that same exact, love and show them what it's like to have that partner in them.
What's that?
No.
What's that, brother?
No. No. The thing is that I think as a single parent, in relations to the way that child deals with the opposite sex of whatever the single parent situation is, let's just say with the majority of cases, single mom, right? So how does that child have a relationship with men within their life, right? So that they don't end up choosing the bear versus men, right? Like it's going to start at home, right? Like there's a degree of poisoning the well that we know that happens in these kind of single parent relationships, especially if the parents are at odds with one another, right? And there could be a poisoning of the well. We actually saw a very good example of this was, you guys remember the content that I did a couple months ago on Ben Hart and his TikTok daughter that, that blew up, right? And blew up because she was saying how the father wasn't there, and then the father came and then had his own receipts. And then as you listen to the story, you begin to see that the master manipulator within that entire story, let me actually bring him up real quick. The master manipulator in that entire story was the damn mother. And the mother poisoned the well of the young girl, so much that the young girl is at odds with the father, right? And they have like difference of political views, and that kind of fueled some of the fire as well. But there has, right, like if you have, right, like it's a far different, right? If you're in a single parent home and your child comes back from, let's say, a weekend with the other parent, with the father, and then that single parent, in an effort to try to manipulate that child's emotions, says something like, oh, did you have a good time with your father? As opposed to, what did you and your father do? Tell me all about it. Right? Like you're communicating, it's the same message, right? But it's communicated within the context of a negative feeling about the father versus a positive feeling about the father, right? So it's like you have to keep, and this is something that my father did so well within my life, is that he never ever spoke bad about my mom. And then also was always super positive about, whatever it is that we did. And, even if I would be at ends or conflict of something as like an angsty teenager would, right? He would always go from the position of, respect your mother. You only get one, right? And I think that is very important position to have. Anyway, this is the young brother that I'm talking about. You guys remember this content? We did this on the channel. I don't even know if he has that video still live. I still look at his content from time to time. I'm subscribed just to see his thoughts on things. I thought he was very smart. Yeah, he does like a lot of political Trump content. Yeah,
Island doing illegal.
Yeah, look like he's still cooking. If you're not familiar with that, maybe I'll link it down up in the description box. It was a great story. Oh, how'd this get up on the screen? You're looking like a Bratz doll. Crazy. All right, let's keep cooking.
That leads me right to the next prompt, which is, does a mother need a husband or partner to successfully raise a child?
Uh-oh.
Both sides.
Okay.
What?
I haven't heard a lot from you.
I feel like they don't need it, but it's always that supportive backbone. I think that, personally with my husband, he is the one that wakes the kids up, gets them ready for school, puts them to sleep.
Hold up. Am I hearing this correctly? You know what? In questions like this, if I was in a room, I would say define success. That's got, what's the definition of success before we get active?
I'm on both sides.
Okay, we haven't heard a lot from you.
I feel like they don't need it, but it's always that supportive backbone.
Let's get, oh my gosh.
Personally with my husband, he is the one that wakes the kids up, gets them ready for school, puts them to sleep, and he works in between the day, and I do everything in between. So I feel like in my personal situation, I would really need that because it does give me those small windows.
We're cooked, baby.
And that's my spouse for me, but it could be someone's parent for them, like grandma, grandpa, being their support. But
we cooked.
I feel
all
like
of them said no.
They don't need it, but it could be something they could long for. When it comes to that.
May I ask, how old are your kids, if you don't mind?
I'm 25, and my oldest just turned 6. His sister is 4, going to 5, and my baby is 1.5.
Okay, that's all right. I was gonna say, like, I totally agree. Like, I don't think we need it, but at those ages, and that's what I figured, like, that you need, you know, longing for that. Again, it's like that. Kind of the community, right? Like you said, it could be someone's mother or somebody. And I definitely wholeheartedly disagree with that you need a husband or a partner. Even when it comes back to that last question with being a single mother, how do you navigate like teaching your daughter about men and stuff? I think being single has allotted me also like platonic male friendships. And I'm realizing it's so important that my daughter can
platonic for who?
The safety in those friendships with men just as much as women. I think just as people, we need each other, right? There's this balance that if you only have female friends or only this, it's like you will only get that one side of opinion. And I have male friends with only daughters, and they're 100% involved. And her daughter her father is 100% involved, and she gets different versions of men that she can find safety in. And
it's actually wild. Plutonic male friends, you know, are those the uncles? You know, it's actually, so the question is, okay, let's break down the question, Chad. So the question is success. Would the child be successful? Okay. I was raised the majority of my life in a single parent, in a single father household. I am a success. I consider myself successful. I was single parent, but I'm successful, right? Which is why I'm saying that you have to define the rules of engagement. Now, would I have preferred being in a 2-parent household? Absolutely. Now, do I also think that I'm missing fundamental things within my personality because I did not have, because my mom was not in the household for later? Absolutely. So I wouldn't get up on here. So if I was to say the word success, I would agree that you can still create a successful child, but with that other parent, right, as competent as what I hope that they would be based on your selection criteria, right, as competent, would I have been more of a success? Would I have been able to move better or understand situations a little bit differently? Because I'll admit, you know, I'm very type A, structured, routine, right? Like birthdays and shit come around, I don't give a fuck, right? Like a lady in my life, she's probably gonna care about that shit, right? She's going to care about the intangible shit. She gonna care. That's not my thing. But that's because I was raised by my pops. That's all that I saw. That's my dad was all routine, all structure. Fuck your feelings. I'm right. Let's execute. Let's get it done. That's the way that he was, and that's all that I saw. And I'm the same way. Now, there's an argument of nature versus nurture there, but nevertheless, are there things that I am missing, right? Because my mom wasn't there and I didn't get to see, right? Like, or, you know, there wasn't a woman somewhere in, and maybe some of that is impacting my relationships going forward. I will never give credence away from having a 2-parent household and watching a loving family, you know, a loving household, right? And you're going to have your ups and your downs. So I think that it's important that we can say that. And I would argue, if you had a room full of single fathers here, they're probably going to say something like what I'm saying right now. But I find it so interesting that a room full of single mothers, and no one is yet to, even if they're going to say no for success, but then articulate the importance of the father. Nowhere near to the degree that I am trying to articulate the importance of a mother. Oh, shit, there's some super chats coming in. Oh, I might have missed a couple. Hold on, let me acknowledge real quick. All right. Montrell says, thank you for the show, love. The Drizzle Drizzle song. Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. Do we got that? You low down dirty one. Drizzle. Shout out my brother. All right, shout out to Lake with a $2 super chat. These married women sound like they hate it. Shout out to Lay again. Many women discover the disdain for marriage and motherhood after the fact. Daughters aren't being raised to understood the true expectations of both. Shout out to Jalen Stewart with the follow-up $10 holla. Appreciate the support, guys. MTR, if you're serious about the conversation panels, Anton's template is a good draw. It's good to draw ideas from. Shout out to Anton Daniels. As for dying because of a single mom, I think that the growing emergencies of simps, the likelihood rises. And shout out, brother. I've definitely seen those late night streams. I think maybe more of a weekly format. The only thing is that I think what Anton does is that he has people that are content creators. They're a little bit more experienced in creating content. And, so they can kind of lead the shows and, they probably have some type of revenue tie into the show. So it'd have to be building a team in order to be able to do that. But, that's not outside of the realm of my capabilities. So, I'll think about it. But thank you very much for the suggestion. All right. Let me get this off the screen. Let's keep on cooking.
They've seen her grow up. So I was going to say, I don't feel like we need it, but in those ages and stuff like that, because right around 6 years old, my daughter was, we had to kind of create a schedule. We created a schedule together. So I wake her up and then I'm like, okay, what's next? And she became so self-sufficient. Now she's 11 and I don't even have to tell her she's picking out her clothes for the next day. She chooses to wake up earlier in the day so she can get herself ready for school and make herself breakfast and stuff like that. So it is something that you kind of ingrain into them as you go on. But yeah, I think that there is a sense of community that you need, but it doesn't have to be the husband or the partner or anything.
I think having the husband is a nice to have. Because ultimately the mother is the one that's keeping the home, but it's nice to also, if you at the end of the day the kids are asleep, if you need to vent, you have someone there. It's an advantage. It's a nice to have. Yeah.
I think
the one that we said is the most mature in her responses is officially cooked as well. The synonym here of these women essentially saying that it's a nice to have for men to be like within the relationship, within the family, is feminism shit. It's sort of synonymous to women's lack of praise of men being in the society in general, right? Why so many of these women choose the bear over the man, right? And it's just so sad to see. It is just so sad to see. And it's crazy because, again, coming from a single dad household, and knowing the importance of my father within my life, and it's almost like the cycle is that so many of them cope themselves into thinking that a man is not necessary, whether or not they're married or not, because they either grew up in a single parent household, right? And it's like you talk ill of the men, or it's a nice to have until you need them, until there's an income issue, until there's a disciplining of child issue, right? Until there is an invader at the door. It's only when there's true times of struggle or heartache or the need of objectives, that's when all of a sudden it's needed. But it's so crazy is to watch these currently married women speak about men as unmarried feminists do.
I think something I haven't heard anyone share that I noticed being a mom and being married is sometimes there's just decisions. It could be like the smallest thing, but I'm not able to fully know, is this the right decision to make? And having someone else, just even if they give you the wrong answer, it's like, well, that was your fault then, but just having that person to kind of bounce it off of also just, I think, helps. But like you said, you can have that with a parent or someone else as well. I think when it's their parent, you might feel a little bit more secure, but just having another adult to have conversations with about things that affect the child.
We cooked!
I'm on the fence. I feel like it's both ways for me. Now that I don't have my mom, I'm like, you do need a husband. Because before, she would tell me what to do and stuff. But now it's like I need a husband because I feel like it's certain stuff that I cannot show my son how to do.
Okay.
Or he needs just like a male voice because he's not afraid of me at all. So I'm like, no.
This is why the fathers get the sons after a certain age, in certain cultures around the world.
And so far it's good, but I'm like, no, somebody's gonna have to come in pretty soon.
Well, it's important for you to acknowledge and not pretend like it's not necessary. And depending, it doesn't have to be your husband, it could be an uncle or someone else that you trust. But I do think that it is important. And the question is interesting because it says successfully raise a child. Because I've heard some mothers, and I'm a product of a single parent as well, say like, yeah, I can do it. And it's like, okay, you can do it. But then what about the child? Is this child in jail, on drugs? Is this child, confused, dealing with mental illness? You did it. But what is your definition of successfully?
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
So do you have any thoughts on that?
By the way, it's crazy to think that you can go through all of that and then finally say that you do need a husband. And the thing is that, depending upon the way that you think about men, the image that you project is going, which is absolutely crazy. She's projecting, I don't need no man. I will never listen to you. Who decides to go to an interview in seats like this and have your entire hamstring out? Like, what decision did you get up in the morning and you said, like, this is what I'm going to do? Half of her clitoris muscle is on the seat, right? They're going to have to disinfect that seat as soon as she gets the goddamn up. The viscous innards is leaking all up on to the padded chair. Ridiculousness work.
My mom was bipolar. And so she basically was raising me to kill herself by the time I was about 15.
What?
So she made me really strong. She wanted me to be able to hold down a job, and because her goal was to emancipate me by that age so I wouldn't go to my abusive grandparents. So am I a success? Yes. And is it helping me right now? Yes. But I lost my childhood too because I had to be so strong and adult, and then I had to deal with her, the bills and the rent and everything. Those aren't necessarily issues kids should have to deal with.
Damn.
Does it teach them a lot of amazing information? Yes, but
I am so confused now because she said that she married her mother, but your mother was trying to. What is going on here? Unmute yourself, bro.
You doing, MTR?
Man, I'm doing all right, brother. How are you?
I'm all right. I didn't expect you to pull me in.
Man, what you got for me, bro?
I'm at work, so I look a little rough. But so first I want to say thank you for the videos you make. It was like a couple years ago I started becoming the man I was supposed to be because I am from a single mother household.
Okay.
So I didn't have any good male role models to look up to and teach me how to be a man, really.
Sure.
So your videos, Anton Daniels, Fresh and Fit, has like started that journey for me to become masculine and become a man. But
hey man, listen. First off, I think acknowledgement of your shortfalls or shortcomings is the first step towards improving oneself. But keep on paying attention to the content because we still got a ways to go. All right. But what you think about the content, my brother?
So this might sound crazy, but I really do think most single mothers, they are so close to evil because of their selfishness and the temptation from the devil. Like in my case, my mom left my father after having 3 kids with him. So I'm like, why would you not just stay? And because you already had 3 kids with him, why not just stay with my father instead of leaving? And now I can't even, bad father or not, I can't even have a masculine or a father in my life.
What's your current relationship like with your mother?
She did what she needed to do. She raised me. I'm here. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a felon. So it's good. It's good. I resent her for not having a father, pretty much, or not having a good male role model in my life to because I feel like I'm set back compared to other people that did have a father in their life, you know?
So what you're saying is that she chose singleness.
Yeah, and the way she explains it is because she wasn't going to put up with whatever she was putting up with, you know? I don't know. Like, we didn't really get into details with that.
You know, if it wasn't abuse, if it wasn't abhorrent cheating, then it's, you know, it makes me think that it's more of the feminism stuff that I talk about so ill of on the channel, right? Like having the inability to conform, to be cooperative, obedient, lashes out, invokes shaming language. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to your mom, but you know, the thing is that I appreciate you saying, you know, through the recognition of, you know, that you may have picked up some mannerisms from her, that maybe her degree of who you should be as a man is detailed not by what a real man should be, but by either the lack or the lapse of the man who is your father, right? So I say, you know, I kind of say all that to say is that yet another case study into the importance of two-parent, you know, households. And, you know, how old are you, bro?
I'm 25. I'm pretty young.
Okay, you 20. There's a couple people in the chat say that you look like me. They say you look like blue collar MTR, blue collar MTR from Universe 357, my guy. Well, cool, bro. Well, listen, man, I feel you. You know, I think you came on here and you said something that a majority of them are. What'd you say? Something devil.
So I think single mothers, I'll say most, not all of them, because some lose their husband, or it could be death or sickness or stuff like that.
Widow,
but most I think are tempted by the devil easily and closer to that evilness without having a man around or in the household or a part of the family. I think they are more tempted by the devil and tempted to be selfish more than to do what's best for their kids.
I'm gonna leave that. Listen. I'm gonna leave that talking point right where it is. And here's the thing. Let me give you a secularist view of what it is that you just said. Is that, you know, it's a man's role to protect within a two-parent household. And I think without the structure of a man, without the routine, without the guidance, without the more logical thinking, being able to rationalize through things that maybe they may be emotionally driven by, right? That's the beauty. That's the yin and the yang. But just like as I said, you know, although I focus heavily in logic, data, statistics, you know, strategically calculating the correct answers to things, I also have missed out on some of the softer components of me because my mom was not right. Like, and that's the yin and the yang. And that's why I always just try to say it's always better if there's two. Now, there is unique situations, like in shout out to Rampage, where you can have a parent that is doing something so abhorrent that it then causes a crazy situation within the children, right? Because they didn't, you know, dispel any of the potential negative consequences of that child, right? So, you know, it's just to me, it's on both sides of the coin. Although I think that my acknowledgement of being from a single father household, and I do, you know, is my acknowledgement. And I think there's a lot of men out there that walk around without the acknowledgement of being from a single mom household. Not all. But I think even specific to within our community, we got way too many emotionally thinking and acting young men. So much so that I'm tired of seeing these fingernail paintings on men. I'm tired of seeing, right? Like, I'm just tired of seeing like just fugazi ass shit. But
and the thing is too, like, I could have been one of those men if I didn't, like, you know, that I grew up around, like, I'm the oldest out of my siblings. My cousins, my aunts, there was no men, there was no boys. It was all my cousins are girls that I grew up with, you know, like playing house and all that. Like, my mom put me in dance class other than sports. Like, I could have been one of those feminine, and I used to be way more feminine. Like, I know I was way more feminine than I am now, you know, like I wasn't like, so.
Yeah, there was a video not too long ago of like these 3 young boys. I think they got locked in like a Walmart or some shit like that. And these young boys were like stealing or something like that. they let the kids off, and then they went back up on live stream, and the young boys was talking about the situation, and you're like looking at young boys. Just put wigs on these young boys. And it's crazy because they think that the behavior that they're demonstrating is masculine behavior. Maybe I should go get a clip of this shit, but and they think that it's like young man behavior, and they were led to believe that the way that they're conducting themselves is appropriate. Nevertheless, my brother, let me get back up into the content. I appreciate you. This blue collar MTR in the building. I appreciate you for stepping in, my guy. All right.
I love your videos.
I appreciate that, bro. All right. Shout out to that brother right there. Let's get back cooking.
I think for me, what a lot of the times when my mom would say, thankfully at 15, my mom found therapy and medication. And so I still have my mom to this day. So I preach mental health all the time. But my mom will say, you're raising weak kids. And I said, no. I'm raising kids. They deserve to be children. They don't need to.
Hey, y'all crazy.
What?
Hell no. JJ either drunk some
What in the sexy rat?
shit or what? Cause she too into the music.
And this is why y'all always wonder why I'm always talking about our culture, our people. You always talking about black people, the bad shit we do. Yeah, because this is the root of the problem. We got to get to the root of the problem. This is what's been setting us back. Passing down fuckery to generation after generation. And it's still going on. The white man ain't do this. The white man ain't got nothing to do with grown.
And this is the exact argument, shout out to, I believe it was T that came in at the beginning of the stream. Oh, no, it was the other young lady that argued against kind of this focusing in on history. What the fuck history got to do with this shit?
That's adults in the black culture passing this shit down to these little girls.
And you blame the parents.
And if they
or parent, rather.
Supposed to be the
ain't no father there.
Future, this is the kids that's going to lead? I think not.
They ain't leading shit.
Doomed. This is what keeps setting us back 200 years. No.
They ain't leading shit besides creating more like them or creating a space that continues to eliminate babies just like them.
No matter how many rights and all that shit we get, no matter how far we make it, if we keep doing this shit, this is 5 steps backwards.
Come here.
And y'all be mad at me. Yo, it's not, the music ain't got, Liz, like, they got this shit down packed. The little girl right here on the left with the juice in her hand, look at her whole face. She got that shit down packed. The little girl in the middle throwing up the middle finger. She licking out her tongue and all of that shit. Sad, disgusting. This is disgusting, and y'all get mad when people look at us like fucking animals. This is disgusting. It's the village shit is no longer here. Like, we threw that shit out the window years ago. And that's the problem. You got this dumb motherfucker who recorded. You hear what he's saying. You got the mother who's letting him, my kids is turned up. Like, all of this shit. It's people like us that's against it, but it's a lot of motherfuckers that's egging this behavior on.
It's crazy.
And this is what's going to keep us fucked. I'm going to keep talking about it until we realize we are the problem. We the problem, not the white man, not the systematic racism and all. We are the fucking problem that keep holding us back. And when I don't know when y'all going to get it.
That's crazy. Ratchet fatigue.
Ghetto gospel. Oh yeah.
Shout out to that brother. Gotham City God on Instagram.
Ghetto.
Hold on.
Look at this shit.
I want to see it again one more time. Yo, not with the quarter water. Yo, look at the face. Where did she learn that from? These with their tongues out their mouth. Yo, so call CPS. Immediately, look at the hit. Where did they learn that from?
Hey, y'all crazy.
Dog, and it's crazy is that there is a dude in the background that is like laughing and okaying this shit. Yo, with the middle fingers, how do they even know? They look like they less than 2. You know what's crazy though? A lot of these dudes that are in these positions okay the shit because they stick an eggplant in the woman. So they okay the shit. They don't give a shit. Dog, and y'all talking about it's the teacher's fault.
Get my keys,
Cooked.
Oh, no.
Get your passports.
JJ either drunk some shit or what? Because she too into the music.
Dog, cooked. Shout out to this brother right here. Gotham City God. All right. That just came up in my feed, so I wanted to share that. Let's keep going.
Be that strong. They don't need to know how to do that yet. I also have a husband who supports me. You were a single mom and you didn't have anywhere for me to go in this situation. If something happens to me or my husband, we already have a family that's gonna take both kids and they're gonna transition right in and they're with the loving people so we have it prepared. I said, you were floating by yourself down the rapids and had no help. She had no village. So I understand why I was raised the way I was. And like I said, am I successful? Yes. I didn't do drugs. I was a good kid. But at the same time, there are times that it kind of when I see my kids just getting to be kids, it's a little resentful. Or my mom, I call it, we're like goats fighting sometimes because she needs help with her medical, but I'm strong and she's strong and we're both heading. And I go, you made me this way. This is what happens when you made me a strong woman to take care of myself. I'm now taking care of everyone, and that's my job. And so it makes it hard because I feel like I'm too strong sometimes, and I don't know when.
This chick is so confused.
To back off and just let it be.
She's pissing me off.
Thank you for sharing that. Can any of you ladies relate to that? Do you sometimes feel, as a single parent, that maybe you give your child responsibilities that are more adult responsibilities or lean on them like you would a husband, depending on how old your children are, as they become teenagers?
I'll be honest. I don't know who's more cooked in this conversation, the single mothers or the married mothers. It's almost like all of them are cooked.
Sometimes that does happen with single
Am
parents
I tripping?
because they don't have anyone. So the
Zoom link
child
pinned to the
becomes their
top.
confidant or things of that nature. Have
Come
you
and
ever
talk to me about
experienced that, or have you thought about that from your child's eyes?
I definitely have. I'm very, very open with my daughter, right? Whenever she has questions, I'm never the type to try and beat around the bush to answer because I think, so I've thought about that because I also have friends that are like, you shouldn't answer that right now, and that they're too young for this, right? But I think as parents, our natural instinct is to protect our child as much as possible. But the reality of it is that we need to teach our children to make decisions, right? And we're not always gonna be there. I lost my mom when I was 20. So while I was transitioning to be an adult, I didn't have her anymore. And I think that when she died, I was like, she didn't teach me anything about taxes. She didn't teach me even to open up a bank account. She didn't teach me the basics of being an adult. So I did have to navigate that myself. And with my daughter, it's even if I'm giving her money, we're teaching, okay, we're gonna save this much and then you can spend this much. And you're kind of teaching them to make decisions and you're still guiding them and leading them as protecting them as much as possible, but exposing them to things to be like, what do you think is the best decision in this moment? And I'm gonna help you in this, So I definitely feel for your story, and it's such a beautiful thing that what came out of it. But I do understand that sentiment of being too strong. I think having been single for some time, I actually just got out of a 5-year relationship, and it's there were times that he even said to me, he's like, I would love to help you more, but you wouldn't let me. You won't let me. And I'm like, well, I don't really know the dynamic, right? We're not married yet. We're not. So what should I be accepting or asking of you as my partner, especially not being the father of my child and her father being present? So there is a lot of oh, I got this. I'll do it for you, or I'll do it. And like, I didn't realize at the time that there were probably moments where he would have loved to stand up for me, right? And I didn't think I needed him. I didn't need him, but I should have at least acted like it. I don't know. I do it to my.
Got it. Yeah. So your default was not to try to include him in fixing problems, which, what do you know, for strong masculine men, we're problem solvers. We like to fix shit.
Husband all the time.
Yeah.
Even if it's moving a cabinet, I'm just like, I just go and do it because that's what I did my whole life with my mom. If we wanted it moved, we moved it. I'll come home with stuff on top of my van still, and he'll be like, babe, why didn't you call me? And I'll be like, I have a van. I don't need you. And then it's like, and I feel bad because sometimes I feel like I do take some of his responsibilities away from him just because of that dynamic. And he came from a loving mother, father, like what I would consider your nuclear family kind of, you know. So for him, it's like he doesn't get those things. But I'm like, oh, if I want it done, I'm just going to go do it.
Right. Why would I wait around for you?
Yeah.
Definitely, I felt sometimes it was too much for my daughter, and I also felt responsible for taking her from different country, separate her from her father and taking her here. And one time we even had to use her money that she made as an actress to pay our rent, which I'm very against. I think kids make money for themselves, but it was like that. But at the same time, I think this is her destiny and this is her life. And as they say, our kids will always find something to talk with their therapist about. Even if they're coming from the most loving family in the whole world, they'll find something to resent us for. So I think it's all good. It's all good. So.
But you're aware of it.
I'm aware that some things were too much for her. Yeah.
And I think as mothers, you have to give yourself credit or give yourself grace. You know, raising children, whether you're married or single, is not easy. They don't come with a manual. And so you navigate those terrains. And to me, success looks like, my children are in college, 2 of them, and they both went out of state. And so the fact that they're out of state without me, and they're living their lives, they're paying their rent. My oldest one she just turned 21. She lives off campus. She pays rent. She pays her bills. I mean, I give her the money, but she handles the bills. But the fact that they're able to be away and they're doing well, I don't get any calls, that they're in trouble. They call me every day. We FaceTime, we talk. That's successful. That's success.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
There's a lyric to like a rap song that says like, my baby mama is stronger than most of you, and they say like a bad expletive. And sometimes when my children's father is like around and, maybe we spend the night at the great grandmother's house and like the kids are ready to like pack up their things and help me carry them to the car, I think of that because I kind of just raised them to like do things. And they do. They like pick up some of the slack, I do laundry, I cook, I do the cleaning, in the house and things like that. But I have a 8-year-old daughter, a son that just turned 6 this month, and I have a 1-year-old that will be 2 soon.
How many baby fathers?
And when I came home from getting a C-section, my daughter, she was like, I can warm up the meals, things like that. My son was like, I can get every diaper he needs and bring it to you. And I can always get the wipes and I can get his clothes. And so they do, in a sense, like pick up slack. They don't have like a hardship life. I don't think that they would say or tell their therapist.
How can you be proud of that? Oh, wasn't she one of the ones that said that you don't need the man to be there, that you don't need a father to be there? Like, I get it, give them responsibility, but how can you be proud of that? They're doing things, right? Like, how you come back from the goddamn C-section? Where your man at? You just having babies by men that just like, see ya, they skedaddle. I should put the skedaddle sound bite up on here, a Looney Tunes sound. What you mean that you came home from the C-section? You got a fresh wound from getting a baby dissected out of you. You got the other kids. What in the ridiculousness is this? How could you admit all of that? See, you let them talk long enough, and it's just like, how could you admit all of that and then also say that a man is not needed or a man is not necessary for success? Crazy.
later, but I think that they do, and I do think of that. I think that I'm raising them in a way that makes them like stronger than a lot of people, but in a good sense of being self-sufficiently strong.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next prompt. Do you think married mothers are unfairly expected to maintain the perfect family image? Okay,
What?
Anyone can answer that.
Yes, I do. I think when you're married and a mother, society just expects you to be superwoman. They expect that everything should be fine. They think that, you have a spouse, so, you're both bringing in income. They think that you shouldn't have any problems. But contrary to that, we do face challenges. Those expectations, trying to live up to other people's expectations as a married mother is not easy. And sometimes you just have to do what works for you. And I think also for me, it just comes with age. I'm at a certain age where I don't really care what people say anymore. So I just do what works for me. I ignore those expectations and just do what works for me.
Thank you.
Well, kind of going off on what you said, I feel like it depends on what society you're trying to look up to, because I come from a Hispanic household, and in their perfect household, the wife's supposed to be 100% stay at home. You can't go enjoy yourself with your friends. You have to tend your husband. Your husband can't pick up the mop or the broom. He can't pick up the pan. And going off on the last prompt, my husband is the way he is because his mom was working 2 jobs while he was growing up, because his dad was in a completely different city 2 hours apart. She didn't have anybody, and he was 5'6", taking care of a 1-2-year-old, home alone. She wouldn't have a babysitter at times, so he would be at home making the bottles all by himself. So when it comes to our household, he loves cooking. He makes his favorite soups. When someone's sick, he's the one that wants to tend to someone sick. And whenever I try to confide in my mom or in his mom or his stepmom, they're kind of like, they take a step back when I say, oh yeah, he helped me cook today. And my dad is like, what do you mean he's cooking? So
I'm beginning to understand why this content, right? Like content like this generally doesn't do well amongst male audiences. Why is that? Because it's like this conversational mishmash of just people just speaking about their feelings and our emotions, and they're not really challenging each other. So they get the opportunity to just say shit, just say frivolous shit of the thoughts, feelings, ideologies. I think that's why debate platforms resonate more with men, because you get to see the challenge of whatever preconceived notion, whatever delusion that they live in. And in fact, I think this is why, the content of men sitting with women and women getting an opportunity to talk about something, and then the man, saying something to the logic or the data that makes a little bit more sense. That's why it does so well. I uploaded an Andrew Wilson video reaction commentary earlier today. It just resonates a lot more with men at the end of the day, because they just get to come up here and just speak nonstop and complain and victim. And yeah, it's just so hard. Just be like, what the fuck? Yeah. With great power comes great responsibility. You got a man that got on bended knee for you. Shut up. All of this complaining. Guess what? Life's hard. Life's not easy. Anything that you try to do within life ain't easy. Trying to be good in sports. Trying to be good at your job. Trying to get a promotion. Trying to be a content creator. Right? Like, there's nothing in life, but just to see them all thumbs up, like, yeah, like it's such a high expectation. This, that, whoop-de-whoop, I'm complaining. Let's all hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and talk about how we don't need men in our lives. The married women, too. You're talking about we don't need men in our life. And complain and hold hands. And men are just sitting back and they looking at this shit like, the fuck? How much? This is why the left is so appealing to women. And men are just like, what the fuck is these people just complaining about shit? They just do is victimize themselves. They talk about how hard something is. They complain. We live in literally the most livable time period to ever exist within our history. We have the least amount of famine, right? People are not going hungry to the rate that they were at any other point within civilized history. The crime rate is not as bad as ever it's where it's been in civilized human history ever before, right? Like, there are some issues. Let's not act like everything is peachy keen. But it's just so interesting to hear these people complain long form about normal shit. It's like, would you want me to congratulate you for being normal? You get a fucking job, a crib, you graduate from college, and you want me to prop you up for normal ass shit? You got married, right? Like, shut up. Like, all we just hear is this goddamn, like, that's why it's so hard to listen to content like this. Just complainers.
At this point, I mean, we're about to be 6 years married, but I've known him for almost 10. And we just don't care anymore. So whatever works in our household and we're happy, the kids are happy, that's what works for us.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone on this side want to speak to that?
When I was married, I used to have to put up this facade that I was so perfect, but I wasn't. Everything I want to do bad, I'll tell my sister. Anytime I want to talk to a friend, I would do it behind my husband's back. And I was in the church where they was like pushing this life on me where I had to be like super perfect. And women have to serve their husband and all this stuff. And I was like,
you wasn't doing that.
Why? Why is it so hard to be married? I just didn't understand it. But
Of
it's
course.
like so many wives that go through that you have to be perfect and like everybody looks up to you, and you do. People do look up to you because they like your lifestyle and stuff. And it was just, to me, it was harder than being a single woman. It's harder than growing up when my mom had 9 kids by herself. I was like,
Oh, yeah. It's a history.
This image was just, even when we took pictures, like at a picture place, they would ask me if they could use our family as like an example so that they could like sell, make more money. And I was like, what? But that's how picture perfect it was. And then as soon as I got out of it, I was like, I don't never want to be in something like that again. It felt like a cult. I felt like I was married to the church and that man and everybody on Facebook. So I just felt like that's the persona of being married, and I don't know.
And everybody on Facebook. Oh, yo, that is so crazy. I mean, we talk about the image of facade that gets created, demonstrating the highlights of something. She cares more about the perception of the image on Facebook than being in a 2-parent household, but it makes sense. She grew up from a single mother that had 9 of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I've definitely heard people who are single mothers make comments. Let's say the child has to go to like some sort of after school activity, and they say, well, you may have to take this person and Johnny's friends too. And she's like, well, Johnny has a mom and a dad. Why do I need to do that? Or Johnny's parents have the 2 parents in the household. They should have the money for that. And so there's that expectation for married parents to be able to have everything, have enough money, have enough time, and won't be able to ask for help or have sympathy from people. I've definitely seen that.
It is so wild. There was a quote, my last place of business is back when I was, working in insurance. There was a quote on the wall, and I'll never forget that quote. Very important quote when it talked through team building, the manager-employee relationship, being able to work together. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. It's easy to do it alone, to do it by yourself. But it's easy to watch, but it's also makes sense to watch like the images of like her there on the left and say, okay, well, you wanted to be selfish. Even after choosing this lifestyle, you wanted to choose you, and if that's your prerogative, then so be it. Just don't go back later and cope and lie. And you can see like little glimmers of her acknowledging that she needs a man to do it. But I suggest no man, right? Like in listening to the way that she articulates, She wants a man there as an insurance policy, right? Like to help her in certain financial obligations. And then also, yeah, I don't see someone actually doing it for the man, but she wants a benefit in lieu of the give and take that a relationship might make.
I definitely expect people who have two-parent households for their children to behave better. I mean, you have that daddy that's 6'7" and a mom, and you are running around and you're controlling them, and they're carrying you to the car from the park because you don't want to leave the birthday party. I'm like, what is going on? So I definitely, now I'm seeing that there is some like, you know, criticism and judgment of like what a two-parent household can like produce, and that it should be a certain way too.
Yeah, so with those expectations, when I was going through my divorce, it was the most difficult thing, not because it was my decision, but the people, the bystanders, the society. I'm of, you know, West African descent, and in our culture, just like Hispanic, you know, no matter what's happening, you got to stay for the kids. So when I made the decision to, you know, to divorce, those it was so difficult, not because I was divorcing, but just, you know, the things that you would hear from people that, you know, you're selfish, you don't care about your children, all of those things, you're not going to make it because now you're going from a, you know, double income home to a single income home, all of those things. So those societal expectations, like if you're not a strong woman, they could really weigh you down. And when you make a decision, I made that decision, so I just stuck to my decisions and just, you know, I turned a blind eye or blind ears to those gossips. And right now, as I sit here, that decision was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
And shout out to the young brother that came through before, kind of in this recognition of some of his faults as a young man and the way that maybe he thinks about things, the image that he was probably having around the time of with single mother having control of him. Because again, you know, listening to groups of women like this just complain about shit, right? Like as a young boy, you might look at that and then you might say, okay, this is the way that I need to start thinking about life. And then you become a victim mentality man, which is like the worst combination. Well, I would say the worst combination is like a victim mentality, irrational young man. Right, because like then nothing gonna get through to you. All right, it's always about being unaccountable, right? Like, and you pick up like kind of these negative feminine, like these toxic feminine traits as a man, which is like the worst goddamn combination, right? But like, imagine a circle of men complaining about doing basic shit. This shit could never goddamn happen. Should never happen. MTR, you should engage the chat more. What you mean, bro? I got the Zoom chat that's down up in here. People can come up and have a conversation with me. But yeah, come up and have a conversation. What you mean? Come engage me more. How about that? Appreciate the feedback, though.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That actually leads me right to the next prompt, which is, would you say that married mothers are more financially stable than single mothers? Okay.
Wait, what? What in the cloud? Would you say that married mothers are more financially stable than single mothers?
Than single mothers? Okay, anyone can respond.
Right now, because we were a two-income household, but with my mom being sick and now my my son being sick, and my daughter struggles with her autism and bipolar, I'm home. And it just so happens that every program that I keep being told about that we could use for me to stay home and then get paid to stay home, my husband makes too much money. And you're like, but I can't pay my electricity bill, or I don't know how we're gonna buy food just because we live in a decent neighborhood or whatever. We're lucky we got into that neighborhood when we did, and our landlord is amazing because, you know, our rent is probably it would be double what he's actually charging us because we've been there for going on 11 years. And he always signs us for like 4 or 5 year leases at a time because he loves us and we want to stay. But it's just because the outer shell may look beautiful and shiny doesn't mean that when you go inside, it's not a dying grass landscape. Sometimes we're just really good at masking the outside to make it perceive that things are better than they are. It definitely does not.
Shut up. You're getting so far off the question. The thing is that, did you guys just hear what she just said? Oh, tell me if you guys picked up the ridiculousness. Okay, so when you start off this question at the top, it's just a math equation, right? You should be more financially stable if there's two people there as opposed to one person, which is why I was so confused at this. But she said, maybe not, because my husband makes too much money. Ergo, if the man in my life was not here, I might be more financially stable. Through help of the state. Yo, that is wild. So she doesn't, she can't get certain benefits because the man is there. Oh, when you talk about the destruction of the two-parent household, I'm starting to believe that. I mean, I've been thinking about this, but it's like the more that we do this content, we come across hard concrete evidence that this is a construction. Oh, this is incredible right here.
It's better, the programs that are there that should support you during these like hard times, like especially to say that your husband's car that is not new needs to be sold in order for you to qualify. It makes no sense when that's his car to get to work. It doesn't make, things like that don't make sense to me. But all I do is just tell myself that breathe.
No wonder they say that men are nice to haves as opposed to needs to have, because they're willing to accept the government as their father, the government as their husband. And she's on the married side, so obviously she hasn't chosen to accept it, but oh, I can't wait till we get into the single moms over here. Damn, this is so crazy.
And just,
This is why also, too, because there's so many people who take advantage of EBT, food stamps, Section 8. This is why within the Trump's big, beautiful bill, they have taken steps to, disable certain swaths of people from getting benefits. But this is why, and when he would talk about this, he would say it's to continue to promote or incentivize two-parent household and family, which is the cornerstone of our nation, of any nation, right? But when you see married women speaking about this, the idea that they can choose government as their daddy and be more financially stable to potentially de-incentivize two-parent household, you begin to understand the bullshit that we're wrapped in. Woo!
Live a little more frugal, and just we still give, and I think that's our biggest thing is we're still blessed. We may not have as much as others, but we're still blessed. So I feel like that's, I think, one of the things I am teaching my kids is you don't have to have everything, and so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like my mom as a single mom took, like, sometimes it was way better just with what she had available to her than being in a married, because then your dynamic is different, so they calculate you different, and it does change the dynamic of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. Thank you.
Oh, yes, I want to hear from you.
When I was married, I had way more money.
Okay.
Way more money. My husband was making $25 an hour in 2007 or 8? 2007. I haven't even made that much money yet in my own life because I have to do so much. I'm like following my dreams, working.
I think she said $25 an hour. That comes out to 40 hours a week at around $50,000 per year.
And I just got a bachelor's degree probably like 3 years ago and still not making that kind of money. So when I was married, we was always throwing money away. We were at the mall every day. I was getting my hair done all the time. That's the only thing I miss about being married is having all that money. Like, it was so bad that my husband was stealing.
Damn. The only thing that I miss is having all of that money.
We used to put our money up high, and he would just steal it. And I'm like, why are you stealing the money when you make all the money? Well, so it was just always money in the house, and we were just blowing it everywhere. I was everywhere, and I just missed having so much money. Just now, if we had that kind of money, I would be like investing and doing other things, but it was just better. Financially was better to me. I'm sorry.
I actually experienced the opposite. So again, I was married when I was 23. I was very young. And we made good money together. But it was the constant, like, if I wanted to do something for myself or purchase something for myself, it was judgment coming from my partner or, you don't need that, you don't need that. And so, when you're going through your day-to-day and you're working a lot and everything and you can't even kind of enjoy what you're doing and everything goes to your child and bills, it does feel like you're drowning, right? When I separated, I went through a very hard time because I got laid off a couple times, but I fell into a job and kind of had a manager that kind of saw my potential, and I was promoted a few times, and I'm making more money than I did when I was married. And I do think it really depends on your partner. It's a little situational. I don't think that he didn't support me, but I was in this mindset as I can't leave my job because then what, right? Like I have to continue to make this money for our family, and I couldn't even step out of that to explore the things that I could be passionate about or I could be good at. And so I was just kind of living day to day. So it was very much like we had a house together and we did these things, we had all these things, but we were literally just living like house poor, just paying bills after bills after bills. And so now I make sure to make time for myself, and I have a little bit money on the side. So it's really interesting because it really depends on your partner.
Yes, I do agree.
Just real quick, we're going to get back up into it, but I hate to say I told you so, but the lovely young woman on the left, I said earlier is that she really only wants a man in her life for monetary reasons. Did I not just say that? Chat, did I not just say that? And then we come to find out that that's the only reason that she misses being in a marriage is because her husband made $50,000 per year. Now, I will say that at least it's not $100,000 per year, right? So at least she's looking for someone that, for 50, average earning young man, right? But, if that for her was a lot and she misses that, all I'm just saying is I told you so. Did I not just call that out? She's the archetype. Let's continue.
Built 2 businesses, and I became independent, absolutely. And looking into at my friends, some of my married friends, maybe they're relaxed, or maybe they're in this comfort zone, and they didn't do anything for the last 10 years. And unfortunately, men leave, men die, men cheat as much as women, and something can happen and they will be just on their own, not knowing what to do. So even now, if I want to, I cannot to work in my new relationship, but I would never choose that because I don't want to be in position dependent on someone or telling me how to spend my money or to spend on what. So I really love what I've built for myself being a single woman, and I think that I wouldn't be that determined to do that if I were with someone.
That's so interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Going along with what you just said, how many of you have had to choose between financial stability and being present for your child? Because you mentioned, that you mentioned that you would still work, but then you do have a daughter. And sometimes that comes into play, this question of, okay, should I be working and making money or spending time with my child? So did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, one in a while I was just like getting booked all the time on these acting gigs. And I was having to pick my kids up from school early just so they could be there for each other and watch each other so I can go to these gigs. 4:30, I have to be on set. I was picking them up exactly when school got out, 2:30, and go to the gig, and wouldn't get off till 6 o'clock in the morning. And I did that for like 2 weeks straight. But I just was like, I can't be present for you guys. I have to make this money. It was crazy money. It's like $600 a day at the time for just 2 weeks. But I said, I have to make this money. I have to get this money. So you guys just have to do what you got to do. And I just, now that I look back on it, I was like not a present mom. I was just worried about money. So that's why I said it was better when I was married. I didn't have to do all that stuff to make money. I could have just went once a week or whatever. But being a single mom, I had to make sure I had money to survive. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're right. You had to survive.
I had to come up with creative ideas because I wanted to be in her life, but at the same time, I had to make money. So I built a business around her that I can be with her. So I opened up an acting school for kids, and I didn't have money to pay for other activities. So she would come to my acting school where she danced, when she sang, and I was spending with her all the time. So I was lucky in that way.
That's beautiful. Anyone else want to speak to that?
Yeah, so I also have made 2 businesses. I am a nail tech and I do permanent jewelry. And I feel like it's just really hard to balance both, at least in my situation. I was booking nail appointments, but then it takes 2 to 3 hours per set because it's a lot of like painting on the nail. And I did.
What's up, brother? What you got for me?
Oh, I'm just listening here, having to agree with most of everything I'm hearing. I mean, people today don't realize how much the situation is deteriorating. We don't have the same, they don't seem to have the same priorities, you know, when things get to the finite of it, you know.
What you think about the concept of the selection of the government over a man?
Oh, it's atrocious. It's atrocious, and shame to say I've been victimized by it firsthand. I mean, I was married to a woman for 23 years, and after Hurricane Katrina, she decided she didn't want to be married anymore, and you know, she decided to take my children and leave. And for 16 years, she lied about money she took from the insurance company. And the state of Texas just let her get away with it. I mean, for years.
So she was building up a nest egg. She was building up a nest egg to leave you.
Well, she had a nest egg. That was the problem about it, you know. And this is what the great KS used to talk about when he said women keep women single. Because when she and I was married and her mother was alive, her mother, a married woman, put her head with sense. But unfortunately, her mother passed away, and these other hyenas who wanted to get in her head, got in her head and changed her life for the worse. I mean, I'll give you an example. We're talking about a woman, she was a 10 all around. And I was with her ever since, she was still in high school when we met, and I was out. Had just graduated college, and the two of us put up with a long distance relationship for a while she was in college and I was working. And when she got out of college, we got married. We started our lives together, and we was married for 5 years before we had any kids. And we lived 5 years on our own, having fun, just being a couple. And something you got to look at here too, which is kind of messed up. When I went to school, I put myself through school. I paid my own way, paid my own tuition, did everything. Got me a job. Yeah, I was living with my grandma, but I worked in her store as well as took care of her house while I was living with her while I was in school. So we too, but grandma didn't know that. And I got myself through that. I took myself out of the hood, which is where I come from, and put myself in the corporate life. And in that corporate life, I started climbing the ladder while she was in college. She come out of college and she had tremendous debt out of college. And I didn't think nothing of it. That was the woman I wanted. I took that on, and the two of us went on about our life. But then funny thing happened. A couple of things happened at the same time. Unfortunately, her mama died. Lymphoma came along and took her mama. Wonderful woman, beautiful woman. I love her to this day. And these other friends I find out afterwards who had been talking to her started having a bigger influence on her. In 20 years, we had done paid off them student loans that she came with and had finally gotten free of them. She had then gotten her job moving up from playing with pee and poo in the hospital to working for a pharmaceutical company, and had finally started making some bank as a sales rep. And after Hurricane Katrina, she decided that since the loans was paid off and I was working, that she would turn me into a paycheck and go off on her own, listening to her own friends. Now, at the time we was married, this woman didn't wear no makeup, had her own natural hair, and she was a 10. Now, these hyenas then got to her and filled her head with everything. She walking around with all kind of curly blonde wigs on, face dressed up, looking like everything but the red-nosed clown at the circus. And she just thinks that she's okay with it. She don't realize how messed up she is, but being from Katrina, when we left, I kept my phone number, same phone number I had for the whole 22 years we was married. Now she's off on her own, and I'm getting phone calls just about, well, every week now, about people looking for her to pay her bills.
What?
Yes, because I still have the same phone number that we had back then. When they do traces on her and find out in her background, this used to be her phone number, they call me up looking for a payment. And she took me for every penny she could for child support when we moved to Texas. Because we got wiped out in Katrina. There was nothing to go back to. Nothing at all. And she turned me into a paycheck. And every time she found out I would take another step up my professional ladder, she would go back to court trying to get more money. Every time. And then when my oldest son got ready to graduate from high school, this woman went out and had one of my twins declared autistic so that she could keep getting all of the money she was getting after the other kid had been graduated. And the state of Texas let her get away with it all. They let her get away with all of the lies. They took it as at first the judge said no psychologists, and I went out and got a psychiatrist and to disrupt her or dispute her allegations.
Yeah.
And she comes in there with a psychologist report, and the judge accepts it. He accepts it. Not to mention the whole time she was claiming that I owed her money as back child support, where she had to literally in Louisiana took all of the insurance money for child support.
What?
And she lied about it for 16 years. And when the state of Texas, here's to your point, when it came time for me to go to jail, because I was refusing to pay money I had done paid once, I had become disabled. And I was on Social Security, still am. Retired individual here, 67 years old. She took me to court and was going to get me thrown in jail. So I had to take the money I got from Social Security.
Wait a minute. What was she trying to throw you in court for? What was it? Missed child support?
Because she wanted to collect again. She collected $27,000 in child support from Louisiana. Okay, but when she came to Texas, she did not report that to Texas. She told Texas that I hadn't given her anything, and I had to go out and find an attorney that was licensed in Louisiana and Texas to take on my case to keep me from going to jail. Cost me over $12,000. And this woman had to come up from Houston to Denton, Texas. And when she got the woman to admit that she had taken that $30,000 in Louisiana back in 2006, and that she had lied twice before in Texas, The judge and the state attorney general just let her get away with it. They didn't say nothing about it. Didn't say a darn thing. And that was the day I was supposed to go to jail. The day I was supposed to go to jail. They just let her walk away saying that, oh yeah, I lied back then. And those 2 other times that we had hearings on this, and he put me on the stand and cross-examined me. And I lied then too. And they just let her walk. Just let her walk. And those other 2 times that she lied and said that she didn't get nothing, the judge ordered me to pay her attorney fees.
So
that's
listen,
that's
OG.
how bad it is.
OG, just okay. I had to let you cook for a quick second. Because I wanted to hear the story. I wanted to see, and if you got more within the conclusion, let's go over real quick. But I got it. So let me try to paraphrase some things here. It seems as though you got married to somebody who, inevitably presented one way, but she had different thoughts underneath, right? Sound like she got married because she needed help, right? Maybe she wanted a family, but she wanted help in paying off the student loans. And
no, she wasn't even in college when we got married. She didn't have no student loans then.
Yeah, but she went to college while you were married.
Yeah, and her mama signed for the loans. So if she would have defaulted on her loans, they'd have went after her mama, not me.
Okay. So, but after she paid off the loans, it took 20 years. Then 2 years later, she divorced you.
Yes.
And then now she's coming for everything,
Oh, she
including each promotion that you would get, she would file a petition to get more.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you about it there too. I was a very, very high tech individual. I repaired electronics, and I repaired everything from soldering irons to Sony Jumbotrons, okay, literally. And that's what I used to do. I worked in stadiums, fixing major equipments and operating the systems that they had. And I worked in New Orleans doing that. I worked in Dallas doing that. Worked in Baton Rouge also, but those was like traveling gigs. I don't even count the traveling gigs. And I moved up the ladder. I moved up from being a stadium technician to engineer in charge. And every step of the way, she was there with me. And after we moved here, she thought I was done. She thought when we left New Orleans that I was over with and I could never do that anywhere else again. But I proved her wrong to the nth degree, and she tried to climb up on it. And she took me to court every time, lied, and the system allowed her to do it.
The system allowed her to do it.
Just like every one of these people you sitting here with,
this is
I can
so crazy.
see pieces of what I have to deal with.
So OG, I gotta be able to ask you, and this is the thing, and this is why I try to warn these young brothers in regards to the mindset, right? Like, and even within my own dating life, I'm asking these different questions and trying to ensure that the way that they answer these questions, right, it's not within an idea of, utilization of men as, pocketbooks or ATMs, right? That it's not like an inbred hatred or torment by whatever lack of father that was in their life before. I look at their family members, I look at their homegirls, I see, because you even pointed to, her single ass banshee homegirls that may have inflicted or manipulated things within her mind. So I say that to say is that eventually this is the conclusion. So, but if you were to go back 30 years when you were meeting her, what would you say are the key indicators or the red flags that you missed out on that you think would be valuable information for the next generation of man so they cannot find a woman like your ex-wife?
Man, shame on it. Let's write the book, because there's several of them. Straight up, I can tell you, one of the biggest signs that pops up in my head here is friends. When we would run into her so-called friends, this one friend she had was, she married a guy who joined the service. And this gentleman also was somebody with particular character and ability. He became a submariner, became a great submariner, excelled in rank. But as you know, as a submariner, you're gone for 6 months out the year. And when we would sit there at the dinner table and listen to her with her Joey stories, you know, and I would sit there and listen, and I think about it the first time I heard it. I said to my wife after we left there, I said, isn't her husband's name Ronnie? Because we went to the wedding. And she's sitting here talking about how she be riding on the Joey eggplant. And I didn't want to say nothing about it simply because of what the subject was. And that was girls talking there. I just sat there, listened, and appreciated being able to hear it. But then I find out that Joey is a term used for your boyfriend while your husband is deployed. Regardless of what his name is, yes. Regardless of what his name is, the service women who have men, when they get a boyfriend, he's referred to in conversation as a Joey. So when you hear about the girls talking about they know Joey or whatever, or when they're talking around servicemen, essentially that's what they're saying.
So essentially, she had homegirls that were hoes.
Oh man, straight. Well, this one particular one, we had to cut her off. We had to cut her off, and I was so glad when they moved him from the East Coast to the West Coast, because we didn't see her no more when they moved him from Virginia to San Diego. That it was easier for me, but they still kept in touch, and she had other ones that were just as bad. I mean, they had one that I thought was kind of cool when we first met, because his old man, he sold herb and he had a good price, and I used to like dealing with him with it, because when I graduated from college, I stopped selling, but I still smoke. And this guy, he was trying to be upward and mobile in the wrong direction, and he went from herb to ice. And that wasn't my game, and the snow in between wasn't mine either, so we lost touch a long time before. But the girl just kept filling her head about how bad he turned, and that was gonna be me, even though 22 years later, the most I was doing was buying nickel dime bags every other weekend,
All right,
well, maybe more than every other weekend. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
It's still
But okay, so the first big one was birds of a feather flock together, identify if there's whole friends in the area, see how they talk about men. If they got nicknames and shit like that, then that is a key indicator to the bullshit. All right, what else you got?
Well, if their mama is a married woman, then how they relate with their mama is a big thing too, because her mama kept her in check with that the whole time that it was going on, that we was married. And I love her and appreciate it for God. That woman was something else. But her mama was her mama, and I had to let them handle that stuff the way they did. And our mama did a good job. Not that she did my job, because I was there making sure that there was a house there, that when the house flooded, it got repaired again, because like I said, we lived in New Orleans, and that was something that you deal with on a regular basis there. The question is just how bad it's going to be and how much you're going to do afterwards to get stuff back together. And I lived there all my life. That wasn't my first hurricane. That wasn't my second hurricane. But I guess to say it was my worst hurricane coming through Katrina. So it was something.
So let me also ask another question too. So what do you think about, right, like when we go over this specific point specific to the utilization of the government as opposed to a man? Do you think that maybe she came across some information and then she said, oh, wait a minute, I can actually leave him, does the calculation between child support, maybe even alimony, and then whatever government assistance that she can apply for? Sounds like she did something shady in claiming autism in one of the twins, right? Like, do you think that she came across information that de-incentivized her from, keeping a two-parent household?
She took advantage of the fact that by us being wiped out and moving from Louisiana, okay? Since that was where we were living, when she filed for divorce, she had to divorce me in Louisiana. But then moving to Texas, Texas took over child support. And the state of Texas is very pig-headed. They don't want no other state telling them how to do nothing. So if you show up in Texas with papers from Louisiana, you gotta hope, or any other state for that matter, you gotta hope the judge accepts them. And when I went in there with all of my papers, but because I represented myself, the judge refused to take them. He refused to take them. And at the time she took me to court, the first 2 times, I had all the evidence I needed, but because I wasn't an attorney, the judge wouldn't allow me to present the stuff. And I was allowed to like cross-examine her, but I wasn't allowed to present my evidence or put it in. And the reason I wasn't, and here's another way the system works against the guys, is I was making just enough money to pay my bills. And I had a choice of stopping eating and hire an attorney, or stop, having electricity in my apartment, which actually would have been a violation of my lease and could have got kicked out of my apartment for not keeping my electric on. But those were the type of things that I was dealing with paying my child support. Because every time I would make a move up and start to get some nickel, she would come along and try to swipe me through it. And
that is one of the issues. Like when you take a look at the numbers, that's like how many children go to their mother after a split, and the number I believe is at like 90%. But what's not missing from that? Hold on, OG, 1 sec. But what's missing from that number is that many men make the decision not to fight for because of the financial situation that they are currently in, and it would take so much extra, right, from a financial perspective in order to go that extra mile. And for your situation, it was a bargain between eating that night and hiring additional support.
Well, the whole thing was a climb. It was a climb and a half, because coming back up from the storm was a traumatic and terrible situation. We were living in a hotel. We were trying to deal with the catastrophe back in New Orleans. And it wasn't just us. We had other family and friends that were, some of them that were in worse shape than us, and, going through it. I had some friends that was in the Superdome down there. Had other ones that was stuck in the middle of nowhere and didn't know how they were going to get away from that. And we were all trying to manage things. We were lucky enough to have a church adopt us. And here's where the conniving came in with these so-called friends. Unbeknownst to me, one of her friends that also was involved in this had come across a church, and that church was offering families houses. So she went to this church, unbeknownst to me, and got an apartment and took my children and left me here in Texas. And that's when she filed for divorce, but she had to file for it in Louisiana because we didn't have a residence. I didn't have a residence. My last residence was our residence in Louisiana. And the divorce went down in Louisiana. And she went to this apartment, got things started there. And I'm still in the hotel, running back and forth, helping my mama, my friends get things together or pick up in New Orleans as best they can, because they were in a state where they were trying to get that done. My job was allowing me to work part-time and take that time, and my resources were going into paying, if you recall, them $4 a gallon gas prices, driving back and forth from Dallas to New Orleans. Not too much background on that. I didn't have the money to hire the attorney to stop any of this. She takes the kids, she leaves in the apartment, divorces me, lies about everything. And before I could get anything else done, I'm having my wages garnished. The wages being garnished is actually the money I could have used to pay for the attorney. The wages, the money I was paying. Now remember, she was working pharmaceutical. She kept that job. She was able to keep her job working pharmaceuticals. She just got a different territory. That's all she did. Got territory up around here in Texas and just went on about it. And I don't know if you know it, but that's a 6-figure job. Now, my job wasn't a 6-figure job, but back then, 2006, I was making 50 grand. And do the math on it, that was way more than the average at the time. And that was coming up from New Orleans, moving to Dallas. And just the adjustment from the salary from New Orleans to Dallas gave her the incentive to take me back to court the first time for more money, just more money. And every time I would try, I got a second job thinking that that would help me. And she came in and tried to take on that money too. And the court gave it to her every time.
Damn.
Now, never was it a case about her and her income. Because like I say, at the time, she was making over 6 figures.
She just wanted the money. And if you would have ever made more money, she wanted more money. All right, OG, yeah. I gotta ask you the final question. And if you could try to make this like maybe 3 to 4 sentences worth. Would you suggest modern men today to get married?
Shame to say. I only got 2 nieces, and they got too many of them out there. So I'd have to say no. That's the only perfect. That's the only perfect girls I know on earth right now. Mama's dead, and I got 2 nieces. Sister-in-law is married.
Should they all become passport bros? What you saying? Should they go elsewhere?
That's what I found here in Texas. I ain't gonna lie. I met 2 beautiful women here in Texas. It was a godsend. 2 beautiful women.
At the same time, OG?
No. Oh no. Well, yeah and no. Because the first one, I met another one, and then when I got tired of her, she was starting to have problems. That's another story I'll tell you about. I met this other younger one. I met a 26-year-old lady, and the 2 of us, oh man, it was all perfect heaven. And she died on me, believe it or not.
Sorry.
I was 60 years old, and the 26-year-old girlfriend died. Now I think it was supposed to go the other way around.
Damn.
Now,
condolences.
After she died, one of her friends and I, started grieving together and kind of grew closer. And we started something up. And we're talking about somebody in the early 30s. And she, woman of her own, having to do her own thing.
OG, you already know you can't take that 30-year-old one seriously, right? She gonna go back and double back up on the eggplant that the young deceased one just all of a sudden left. OG, hopefully you didn't take that one seriously, baby, or are you still with her?
She died too.
God, what the fuck? What kind of life? What is happening over there, OG?
She wanted to be her own woman, do her own thing. When it was time, she wanted to go out on her own. And she went out one night. Somebody gave her some fentanyl.
Fentanyl? Was the first a drug overdose? Because they were friends, so they probably did it together.
No. They didn't. No, we would hang here. And we would like, we would have skinny dipping parties and stuff here. We never had none of that kind of stuff here. We did just about everything together. And I know when she did, because this chick didn't do nothing. She didn't even smoke weed. She sold pee. That's what she did. If you had a job interview and you needed some pee for your job screening, you could buy pee from her.
Excuse me, I'm gonna have this is part of my square coming out. What is pee?
That's when you got to take a urine test.
Oh, pee, like a urine test. Okay, I thought it was some new. Yeah. I was thinking in my mind, I was like, Percocets? I was like, wait a minute, that'd be terrible for a job interview. Okay, so she would help with pee screenings. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. And when they told me that from that autopsy, I just knew something was up, because that was terrible.
Damn.
And she left 2 children. She left 2 children here too. But
so
I'm
both
still in the
passed
caring.
away. That's insane. OG.
And both of them younger than me. I figured both of them was gonna bury me and be living in my house after I'm dead, and here I'm telling stories about them.
Okay. I just want to just make sure, because I hear stories like that, and then the dark part of my mind goes towards that is this young brother implicating himself, right? Like, is he telling me the whole story, right? Like, is that
That's the whole. The 26-year-old was a Caucasian. The 30-year-old was Hispanic.
Okay. So anyway, so getting back to the question, you would not suggest
living the
marriage.
single life now. Enjoy your single life, fellas.
Well, here's the thing though. You was over at 60 years old doing skinny dipping parties with 26-year-old, right? Like, so you see that laugh is crazy. but you would not have been able to do that if you were married to the same lady that you were married to for 20 years.
I don't know if I'd have missed it, because I was happy with her. We had been together. I met this woman when I was 19 years old.
We got to call that out. So because there's a lot of dudes that are just like, I'm gonna be single forever, and it's so I can do the skinny dipping parties later off in life. But what you're saying is that if you were still married to the first one, then you wanted to miss the skinny dipping parties with the 26-year-olds and her friends.
If there wouldn't have been the change, I mean, you got to realize, like, 2 things can be true at once, and happiness can come in different ways. And I always dreamed of being, because I grew up in the house where the only time my mom and daddy would see each other and they wouldn't be screaming would be in court. Okay?
Yeah.
That was the house I grew up in. And that was the bitch part about it, because mama used to drag us to court just to show the judge that she was buying clothes for us. And I hated that. I hated having to go there. I wouldn't be allowed to speak to my daddy. And, he couldn't speak to me. And then when we step outside and stuff, the 2 of them would start yelling at each other. And then next time I see my daddy and I go to hug him, he'd think that, well, you took your mama's side last time and stuff. I hated that. And I didn't want that for my children.
Yeah, it's pulling 2 ends against the middle. So then let me ask you, you've been through marriage, 20-year marriage, kids, right? You've been through the dating of 26-year-olds, and then a homegirl was probably giving you the looks the entire time while skinny dipping. First one passed away. The second one, she said, listen, I need some of that eggplant, right? So you've been through that. Unfortunately, she passed away, right? Like, so how would you define happiness at 67 years old? How would you define happiness at this stage of your life and experiencing all of these different things? What would happiness look like to you if you had a choice?
It's a daily thing. That's what I've discovered. Happiness is a daily thing. You can plan your future and execute it, because I'm retired. I chose a career. I lived that career. I excelled in that career, and I'm retired from that career now. So at the point I'm at right now, if you can get here, it's just a daily thing. Previously, while you out there climbing, making it, don't let nobody take advantage of you. Try and stay ahead of it. Unfortunately, once you start having kids, you are tied to that other person, and you're at their mercy to some degree for how things can go, because just like you can get tired of them and want to dismiss them, they can figure out ways of not necessarily making your life easier. Because if that's all they see you as is a meal ticket, then yeah, they're gonna raise hell when you try to take that plate away.
OG, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your thoughts, your perspectives.
Man, I enjoy this stuff. I sit here and watch it, and I got 4 grown boys. Yeah. And the best thing I can do is turn them on to people like you and Care. 30, 35, 33, and 31.
There's one more. I think you said 4.
31 is twins.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, listen, and and I appreciate you coming through and sharing some of your words, your wisdom, your experiences, connecting, right? It actually makes me feel like maybe I should have a portion of the show called an OG hour. And we just have OGs come through and just start talking about their situations. Because even within my life, like a lot of my perspectives, whether it's through the wisdom of watching other people within their situations, but then also having OGs around me to corral me in, like, oh, okay, listen, but this, but that. Have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? So I appreciate you sharing this story, man. I appreciate you. All right.
Hey, well, I appreciate your platform and keep going there. I come along afterwards, man. Shame to say, it was after my second lady died, and I decided to look up and see what other options was. I kind of give up on it. I mean, there's no way in the world I'd be worried with one of these dunquishas here in Dallas for nothing.
Protect your peace, OG. What you need to do, you need to go get your passport. Go get a one-way flight over there to Thailand, baby.
You can run into some problems there. Because I've met a couple of ladies from the Philippines and Hong Kong. Hong Kong is China.
Yeah.
And they can be
how'd you meet women from China?
Through long distance relationships.
But how did you meet them?
A lot of people come to Texas.
Okay.
A lot of people come to Texas. And that's what it was. She was here selling Chinese goods to somebody. And we run into each other and started talking and stuff. And we'd see each other when she'd come back and forth. But she wasn't about nothing neither. And, you got to be careful with some of these foreigners because they can be, they can have ulterior motives. And that's something that you may never see in them, but be part of unwillingly. And that can have all other kind of problems for you. Because you be from New Orleans, you run into just about everything you can think of. And when you move away from that.
But OG, is anybody can be willing to take your kindness for weakness. Anybody can be deceitful. Anybody can be a liar. I don't, in my field studies and experiences, I don't see a rate that is any different from a foreign woman and an American woman. I don't see any right. Like there's good people, bad people abroad, good people, bad people here, and it's, what are the things that you are downloading in order to be able to utilize as a tool to disambiguate the real from the not real?
I don't know, if I was younger, I'd go live on the mountain, one of them mountains where they just openly shadow woman, and then everybody take care of the children.
What the fuck? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
You never seen their videos
where they share the woman?
Places, they got places in India in the mountains where the women are scarce. So they'll have the woman will have like 3 or 4 different husbands, and the men each take care of all of the children. Everybody takes care of all of the children as the woman goes around to all of the different husbands.
You said that you would prefer that?
Well, if I wanted a son today and had to think about what would be the right kind of lifestyle, because that way there would be no misunderstanding about nothing, and they would essentially understand the function of the woman better than the conniving of the woman, because she can't manipulate none of the men in her particular situation. Because if the men decide they don't want to deal with her no more, then
they cut her heart out and put it up to the moon god. Right. But
the children live with the men. The children don't live with the women.
This is I understand this, OG, but so you'd be okay with Bill, Harry, and Tom going deep inside your old lady.
Okay, these videos are on YouTube, where same place we at right now, so you can see them. and you don't have to just take me for cap here. But a lot of the time,
I'm not saying I don't believe you. I've seen onesie twosie of this video. It's not the majority. Usually, it's the man who has multiple women.
It's like brothers and cousins, and when the girls are born, they arrange marriages. Yeah, it'll be brothers, and they'll arrange a marriage. If there's a girl, the girl gets arranged with a marriage who's not related to them, so that there's no inbreeding. That's the way they do it out there. And as far as like procreating and bringing up offspring, as opposed to what we have today, I see something like that as way more beneficial than this hyena society we living in.
So again, whether or not it's your brothers, you'd be okay with, coming in the house, knocking on the door, and you hear you'd be okay with hearing that and saying, all right, I'll just come back later. And then
Nah, you're getting lied.
Wait, what? Say it again?
No, you're getting lied. If all we worrying about is just having children and raising children that we know are ours,
brother,
that's the way they do it there. I know it sounds crazy.
What's that, brother?
But no, I heard that too. But the brothers there don't view it the same way. There's no emotional attachment to it the same way that we have. There's no they own the children. When the woman has the children, she's for those brothers, and the brother raises the children as if it's a son, if it's the same as knowing it could be a nephew. The children have these fathers, the fathers teach these ways, and the girls learn them as they grow up too. It's this one part, it's up there in the mountains of India. It's from where, if I remember in the right, the people writing that real weird looking like text. And it's been a way of life for hundreds of years up there. It's not what we do, but it's what they do. And they don't have the situations we do.
So again, you'd stand in line. And let me this. So, did you suggest this to your ex-wife? Is it right?
Like, no, right?
Okay.
You can't tell women nothing nowadays, but you gotta be kidding. You're just looking to argue if you're gonna try to give some woman some kind of advice about like stuff like that. I mean, the first thing they're gonna do is think about it and say, "Oh, that's not the way I want to do it," and then start an argument with you about the next thing that pops in their head. But in this part of the world where this is a way of life, the women who do it don't really complain. They live it and enjoy their lives and don't really, the ones that I was seeing weren't really up about it. They were more shy about being around men that they weren't used to taking their clothes off than they were around the men they were. And that was the situation they had to deal with. And the men were very open and friendly about it.
I'd like to throw in of an idea of meeting a young lady that can be open and friendly, sincere, feminine, appreciative, realistic, but not have my brothers and best friends go deep into her cervix. I think that would be a better option for me. And
I understand.
Okay.
But Walt Disney make movies, not lives.
You said what? You said what makes movies?
Walt Disney makes movies, not lives.
Listen. Well, why can't listen? If you're gonna do all of this, you might as well go over you might as well go to another country and just pay for it, and then you could have her all to yourself. But again, you want to go somewhere.
If you want to have children. Procreate.
No, I'm not even talking about just having children and procreate. No, I'm just saying like paying for time for a long period of time. I mean, of the options of going to the tribe, the tribe in India, and the brothers are all packing out the young lady versus going to another country and buying time, giving her a stipend, right? Giving her a monthly living allowance, that's better than the situation that she was at. Like in one situation, it might be more transactional, but she can, if she's a good actress, she can at least fake the funk for however many years up until the end of life. Versus the other situation is the constant, right? Like your homeboy is going to skeet on her, right? Like, and imagine her coming in and you having to hold her in your warm embrace, right? Like after, right? Like, sexually active men that at any given moment, right? Like, first of all, she's going to be tired, right? Like, how are you going to handle the conversation of, hey, listen, Jerome he just wallow it, right? Like, I can barely walk. He must have been going through a lot at work today. Right? Like, and saying, you're going to have to give me some time. I need to go soak in some Epsom salt for a little while. And you got it, right? Like, of the choice of the two, I don't think that I would. I think of the choice. I don't understand why you would pick the latter as opposed to the former.
Well, for one, I'd be. I guess it's an emotional detachment that I would be specifically speaking of. It would not be something that I would feel that I have to have. As I look back on it, I view raising my sons as being more rewarding than being married. And if I had to pick between the two as to which one that I would, if I had to make a decision on either, I would rather keep the part of raising my sons because they are four fine young men. And I'm as proud of them as I can take the next breath. But as far as the situation with their mama go, I would not want to wish that on anybody.
I totally understand that, OG. So what you're saying is that you would appreciate more kind of the idea of being able to have children with a woman, but not necessarily
But they don't have the Maury show over there,
They don't have what?
The Maury show.
Shout out to Maury.
So when the baby comes, you like the baby, you have the baby, you play with the baby, and you live milk with the baby.
That's funny. That's a serial killer laugh. You know that, right? You got to stop doing that laugh with the backstory. With the backstory with the two young ladies. Anyway, OG, I listen, I can't agree with you on the last one, my brother. I understand that where it comes from, though.
I'm just saying, as far as the way to go, if we got to pick a way to get kids, because right now, if you want your children, if you want to move along in life, you have these type of impediments in this community we live in. And I'm going to tell you right now, you talk about generational wealth, you would not believe how much money was spent on attorneys, both here in Texas and Louisiana, fighting all this bull crap, fighting it off. You would not believe.
Listen, OG, I want you to investigate other societies where there's not a word for divorce. How about that? But before going to the Inca tribe in utilizing their what is it, polyamory? It's like what's the one where it's the woman that got all the dudes that she's married to? I want you to at least investigate no divorce countries that don't have a word for divorce. They cannot get divorced before going into a situation where you got to wait and turn in line to give a young lady a hug.
This place didn't have no name, and we had them laws. I mean, if you look at, I think it was the Blackfoot Indian. If the woman didn't behave, she would have to go live in a teepee by herself. But she would still have to take care of the man and the children. to eat. I think it was the Blackfoots that did that. There wasn't none of that stuff about, "Ooh, girl, don't listen to him about nothing." And, because back then, if you didn't listen to the man, you didn't eat. And shout out to the great KS. That's the thing that he points out to these women when he tries to tell them that your rights are given to you. And if they weren't there, you would be hungry.
Yeah. No, I get it. And at the same time, too, within your situation, it may be Amari, because it could be any of the men that are tapping. Right? You would never know if you're the father of the child, but you guys would all raise them together. So it wouldn't matter if it's your specific DNA. Like you wouldn't know if you're continuing your lineage.
Yeah, well, if you look at them folks, they all look alike anyway, shame to say, but you're not gonna really be able to tell the difference between your brothers and you if y'all screwing the same woman. And when the baby come out, it's gonna look like, one of y'all. That's their way of life, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, listen, brother, listen. I appreciate the nuanced perspective. This took a turn that I did not think it was going to turn, but I appreciate you sharing with all of us. This is extremely entertaining, so I appreciate you talking through this.
And the women accept it as a way of life. The women ain't complaining. You don't see none of them screaming and hollering about it, and you don't see none of these so-called human rights groups.
Well, there's no feminism
for them either.
Yeah. There's no feminism out of
them either, because they can't go to none of these women and find somebody who's unhappy.
Yeah. I don't agree with your conclusion, but yeah, you are 1,000% correct. All right, OG.
Like I say, everybody picking on that. I appreciate you.
Appreciate
up with this.
I appreciate you, OG.
I'll be listening. I'm out here.
All right, for sure. Listen, you can call back anytime. All right.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Take care. Peace. Yo! I had way too much fun within that conversation. Shout out to everybody that's down in the building. Hold on, let me look at what time it is. I can't believe it is. This is the video that we were going over. Let me see how much content is left. Where my mouse at? I look like we was like 75, 85% done with the content. This is hilarious. Shout out to everybody that's still with me right here. I don't know how you not drained from that one, MTR. I am drained. I think that's why I gotta end the stream here in a quick second. Guys, do me a favor, click on that like button. Click on the like button, baby. Shout out to OG. My man said, listen, I'm so tired of these hoes and the shit that they created within our society. I'd rather go up to the Blackfoot Indian tribe and what they doing. Or me and all my brothers. Fuck it. She gotta take care of the kids. She gotta cook and clean. She gotta take all our eggplants. I've never heard someone try to articulate that point. Damn, my candle went out. It's all good. Shout out to each and every one of you guys. Guys, do me a favor and hit on that like button. I got to figure out how I can make that into a VOD. I'm going to figure it out. Guys, do me a favor again. Hit on that like button. Thank you guys so much for your support here today. We were going to go down the Jubilee route. Something happened, and we were still online, so we went down a different route. But I thoroughly enjoy your presence here today and the conversation. Shout out to everyone that called in. Shout out to the sponsor of today's stream, Zoe. And I appreciate you guys. Last but not least, I talked about this a little bit earlier. Guys, sponsor the stream as well is Aura. All right. If you guys been looking at any of the VODs recently, I've been putting in some of the VODs, right? And identity protection specialist, right? I was searching for my name online not too long ago, and I found a bunch of personal information. Now, it's a concern for me for sure, right? But even for you guys, it should be a concern as well. And I utilized Aura. And then after I saw that the work that they did in removing my personal information, I was like, man, you know, let's try to work together. Let's try to partner together, right? Because there's marketers, scammers, data brokers out there, right, that will take your information and then sell it to other companies. So whether or not it's a stalker, a crazy ex, they can find out your private information on these public websites, all right? Let me drop this on the screen, and I'll drop it down in the description box of the video after we go off of the live. But if you use my code, aura.com/MTR, all right, they'll go in there, they'll give you 2 weeks free. That's more than enough time to see if your information has been compromised, all right? Go to aura.com/MTR to see if your information is out there. There's additional services such as VPN access, identity threat alerts, right? So utilize this link right here. I'll put it down in the description box as soon as this live goes out so you guys can get that information off of these public facing sites. All right. Shout out to Aura. Thank you so much for sponsoring. Let me go through the final super chats and then we're going to wrap up. Let me see. Yo, this system, I wish it was an easier way to see the super chats. Maybe I gotta get another system for this. Let me get this off of the screen. Let me see. I live in a 2-parent household, but raised my daughter as a single parent. I see what I got versus what my daughter missed in a single household. I appreciate you, Max, for the $5 holla. Be Better follows up. Oxford, UK. Go on. Okay. Shout out Be Better. BB follows up with a $10 super chat. Most men can quietly empathize, feeling how others do. Fourth perspective. Most women use this as therapy speech without understanding and are very selfish in I, me, deserve, and expect third perspective. All right. Oh, is Be Better the OG? Is that the OG? Shout out to Be Better. Louis Brito with a $10 holla. MTR, thank you for this content. You and other content creators are saving men from emasculinization. The work is never done. Oh, look like Be Better. I believe this might be the OG. He follows up with a $20 super chat. I appreciate that. Nothing there, just for the love of the game. Uh-oh. Zoe with the $200 super chat. Love this. Sounds like she donated right as we was doing the conversation with the OG. I'm interested to find out whether or not how she thought about his final comments. But shout out to Zoe for the $200 super chat. We got to hit a super chat alert. All right. Shout out Zoe. Thank you so much for the support as per usual. All right. Zoe, you need to click on that Aura ad as well. Make sure your private information is not public because all the super chats, they're gonna be like, damn, who's this Zoe? Who is this Zoe? They don't know that you're married, all right? But they're gonna be like, who is this Zoe? Gotta get that public, your private information off of them public websites, all right? But shout out to Zoe for always supporting the live stream. Guys, do me a favor, write Zoe's name down up in the chat because I need the chat to help me to show support and respect back to Zoe. Thank you so much, Zoe. All right. We're actually having a conversation behind stream. She was like, don't stop the show when I donate. I'm like, all right. Thank you. But thank you for your generosity as per usual. All right. Official Jeremy says, great show, Doc. And then Itch says, great show. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys for coming through. You know, sometimes you got to make that pivot. All right. Sometimes you got to make that pivot. You heard? All right. And we made a pivot here today. So I appreciate you guys for pivoting with me, continuing to show love, support, and respect to the stream. And I appreciate you guys for just being there. You know what I mean? It's been a long journey as a content creator. I think that I'm coming up on 7 years. If it's not already 7 years, I got to do the math. Because I stopped and started at certain times. But I think it's 7 years, and I've learned so much within the process. Many, many, many highs, a couple of lows, but we still here. We still doing the content. And no matter if it's the Vibe content or if we come up on here and we get this this live stream content so I can interact with you guys more. And it's going to be getting better over time. All right. Whether or not it's, you know, my ways that I'm able to interact with you guys live, or my handling of the technology behind scenes, or the actual content and the reactions is going to get better over time. So I appreciate you guys always coming back, showing support, love, and respect. It means the absolute world to me. All right. Thank you guys. Zoe, I see you. I see you. I hate how our black kings talk about single mothers. We're all not the same. Can't put us in the same spot. Hey, Sateria, you should have came on the Zoom. All right. Stop the madness. Get up on the Zoom next time and let's have a conversation. All right. Share that with me so I can hear your voice behind that. All right. You got something to say to chat. 99% of the chat won't see it, but 100% of the chat will see it if you come up here and you have a conversation. All right. Let's talk about it. Guys, do me a favor as you get out the room, click on that like button for me. Shame. Click on that like button for me. And thank you guys again for rocking with me. All right. Until next time. I got some Baldur's Gate 3 to pay. I've been addicted to this game recently. You heard we're not outside of Act 1 yet, all right? But we gotta keep going, all right? We gotta forge a path forward, all right? I might go play a little bit of that tonight. Until next time, you two, all right? Shout out to you guys. I see you. Dante, I see you. Hey, you still here with me? Hey, W Stream, I appreciate that. Draco, I see you. All right? Thank you guys for rocking with me. Peace.